chemistry that build up for a long time, but really that mechanical play, the firepower, falls upon the shoulders of Lacey and Jazzy.
Especially when you had the conversation with Jazzikins in the interview saying, hey, we didn't really come with too much practice going into this event, but it is our home turf. We've been playing together for a very long time. We're used to the facilities, but hopefully yesterday has been a wake-up call to really change things around, because as much as we talk about DSG losing to SNG yesterday, they still had good chemistry and good status around that. For Complexity, it looked like they were actually very readable by Little Bros, and that was the one-sided that we saw where they lost on Lotus, where they weren't supposed to.
I definitely think when we're looking at this core of 5 that we're going to need some pop-off potential going on for today. And one of the players I'm looking at for that is Lace. Even in that little snippet talking to the team, they talked about, hey, Lace is the person that could be popping off this weekend. And for Complexity to stay in this, I definitely think she has to be the X factor of the team.
Yeah, absolutely the X factor. Lacey, of course, has been that star player, that flex for the longest time for Complexity. And realistically speaking, I think since the offseason had begun, there hasn't really been an underperforming series for Lacey at all. Usually at the top of the leaderboard, really leading that charge, no matter what role she's playing.
And there's always been, I always want to highlight it as well, Lace stepped away from the IGL role to give that to Jazzikins. And it almost seems like a similar issue to what Complexity is having right now when she was calling Lace, that is. It hindered her skill and her ability to actually get frags. Now she's not calling and popping off, but now it's on Jazzikins that it's unfortunately on her shoulders.
Doing the last watch party of the year today.
To work together and help the team out, bring out those numbers, but the support
we
around everybody else
got
has been quite good. So again,
we got some Valorant for y'all.
Stick around. They'll debrief what happened yesterday and come out in full force. The storyline of Complexity is that they're always good on the lower bracket run.
Absolutely.
Yeah, maybe they got that plot armor going for
We
them.
lost the first best of 3, so this is actually lower
There's
bracket, so
quite a
one
bit
team's
going
getting
for them,
eliminated.
but I'm so excited to get started with this match. I think, too, this is going to be one for when we're looking at both of these teams. We know that both of them can really
Goat,
step up
thank
on
you for
a
the
top
sub.
level. I think it really is going to be
MYK
depending on the map
Zuzu,
pool
thank you for the
really
sub.
determine who's going to be popping out on top and having
Hashtag
that advantage.
DSG win.
Yeah, I mean, going into today, I'm expecting to see a lot of safety when it comes to the map vetoes. I think we saw a, not a great performing Lotus from Complexity yesterday. DSG's map pool has looked pretty good, and as you mentioned earlier, Vans, the only 2 maps we've seen DSG lose over the last few months have been just overtime maps.
100%. But heading into our map picks and bans for our series, our elimination match on the day, it is going to be Complexity here, Vance. Take that first ban, and they're getting rid of Breeze.
That is actually an interesting one to get rid of Breeze, because you're looking at, a very strong map from their opponents over at DSG, but there's been a lot of rounds played in that overtime, so you kind of could read that across, but you're really trying to just ban the best maps for each team so far, because you got Lotus out now for DSG.
Yeah, Complexity's not a big Breeze enjoyer, and, a bit of a blessing in disguise for Complexity as well, not going to Lotus. That's DSG's hard ban.
Now we go think of it as up.
DSG's
Alright.
debatably best map.
I'm liking
Oh,
this,
wait,
actually,
they
because
picked
this is
Bind? The
potentially a double
fools.
controller
Bind is
with
our
the
best
hard
map.
for Complexity on this map. Misu has actually been quite good on
The
that
new logo
role,
looks nice,
but also
though.
it's another one of those
Not gonna
gimmicky
lie.
type of plays when you play with that double controller, so it could be kind of red, so I'm hoping to see that they're going to bring out
It's
something
very
a
cool.
little
I
more
think,
different as well
yeah,
in terms
this
of
is
strategy.
like
Misu's hop
the
on
first
Bind was just absolutely
time we're
phenomenal
using the
with
new
qualifiers, but
logo in
heading over to
Valorant.
Map number 2, I get really scared. This was probably
And
the
it looks
best map I've seen from
clean.
DSG in recent memory when they faced up against Little Bros way back.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking about the 2v4 loss that Complexity had.
Oh, don't remind me.
That's heartbreaking in itself, so hopefully there's going to be something else coming out for Complexity there. So I guess the grosso modo when you're looking at this series is just everybody learning from their mistakes and just trying to bring it back after.
It's going to be a big turnaround.
100%, and I feel like, too, a lot of it's going to be on Complexity to see what they can step up, what they can offer on the back end of that 0-2 loss that they had yesterday. And I feel like, too, this is a map pool that when you're looking for Complexity, it is one where they have to be winning their own map pick, or it is a team that we will be saying goodbye to.
Yeah. At the end, though, at least seeing Bind as this first map is a pretty strong map for both of these teams, so you're going all out blazing. And this is going to be a very fun map to start the series, especially when you're at the elimination game for these two teams.
So yeah, I heard Tarek got a Valorant team for this event as well.
Talking too about what we could expect coming out from Complexity on this very first map. Whereabouts do we think Disguise is
But-
going to be falling to start things out?
We have to win this series to play against
I
them.
was looking at, I was thinking about any, what
Unfortunately, I won't be able to
agents
watch
they
party
what
that. I have to
strategy?
go
We're not
to
going that
a
far.
famous people
No
gala.
predictions, okay. Well, I mean, Misu was, again, a great harbor when it came to Bind in previous memory. Didn't have a lot of kills in the server, but the impact that she found with those high tides and the reckonings was incredible and completely shut down any team that tried to defend.
Yeah, you're probably going to go for like humper picks for both of the teams, so a different way of playing double controller on both ends. The difference with the harbor that I really like is kind of like a PRX style where you could actually use the cove to really enter the sites. So especially, for example, you're trying to jump out of hookah, but you don't want to get shot from spawn. You could have lineups all the way back towards the back of the B site, so you could actually enter a little bit more easier and focus on those main points, like the main chokes going into the sites, and really scale in. That harbor allows for you to scale a little bit more. So again, you're going to have to dissect the map as you're moving forward for DSG, which is hopefully something that Complexity is going to be ready for.
I hope to see the swamp comp.
I'm excited. I was assuming too with both of these teams that it was a night after these losses that they did sit and study. They're ready for this. So heading into our agent select for the match, I definitely think that we will see that comfort. I definitely think there'll be a lot of respect for both of these teams are going to have for each other heading into this. But
Okay, so double controller coming out from Disguise. Nothing really too wild coming out from their own end. I do like the Cypher choice from both teams. I was a little worried if we'd see someone stray away from saying the Cypher.
So
maybe
they're
the
running
Sentinel
Viper
comp that
and
some
we're
teams like to
running
lock into.
Harbor.
But I think,
Everything
again,
else
if I'm
is the
Complexity,
same.
safety
Yeah,
of
everything
the
else
Viper
is
and
the
the
same.
Cypher is so important.
And keep in mind, again, for DSG, we talked about those role swaps and
Double
they
controller.
have different people calling. So Unstable is going into the sky. So they're not playing this raise. It's, again, Lazy Lion's responsibility to be that duelist in the role for DSG. Unstable pull things out right now.
Lazy
And
Lion
they're
plays
able to
duelist
just iron
now?
those things out,
What's
and
happening?
those role swaps are not going to be too much of a big issue.
well, going into this, of course, elimination on the line and a lot of stakes for these teams ahead of our first map over on Bind. It's time to get our game underway and see who's going to take advantage to start things out.
Thank you, Sierra. Yeah, Kega, finally, we're off camera. I could take off this hoodie. It's so hot right now. I'm like roasting like a holiday fire. But at the same time, I'm hoping that this match is going to be fire as well. A BO3 starting things off. Elimination series between DSG and
Look at that
Complexity
DSG
start
logo.
things off
Clean.
on Bind. We're going to have DSG
Clean,
on
man.
the defense
So
and
clean.
Complexity on the attack, focusing this lean on this control towards this B-Long.
There is that lean towards B-Long, you're completely right, but I want to focus on Lacey for a second. On that Cypher role, a little bit more different from what we normally see. Going to be on that solo lurk towards Showers. This tells me, if we've learned anything from yesterday, a lot
Alright, what are we
plays coming out
playing
from the
here?
attack of
We
Complexity.
got
This
3
should be
on
that
long
conditioning factor to
B,
make sure
1
DSG cannot over-rotate and
mid,
take out
and
these 5 stacks
1.
directly. Great lineup
Where's that
early on,
Molly
though, and
going?
the cascade in return is going to block off Jazzy. Boombot needs to be expelled.
Still have good utility right here. So this Molly is pushing the defenders outside of B, but this forces the dog to come out very early for Complexity. So they're going to have a lot less utility to really get into control of this B side. Meanwhile, though, a trade-off towards this A side to keep the players on that area. You
Wait,
talked about
we
the
got
Cypher
one kill
versus
already?
Showers. They were
Nice.
just trying to listen around here for Lace.
And
Losing
the
Lace in
Cypher is so
process, they
lit.
can't have that lurk, but look at this push coming out from
That's
Zaz.
that pendulum swing now. Lacey might be on the move, but keep in mind, not a single player in Complexity knows about the position of Unstable, and Misu, they can get the drop on this flank so easily. But it's the audio call from
Wait,
Lace.
when did we lose Hannah? Wait, why can't I see people dying? Is it because I haven't played Valorant in so long?
They know that Lace is
How long has
somewhere
Hannah
else
been
to
dead?
Rotate. Lacey, all she's doing right now is just waiting for the TPs. Here's the first one. So information on the second one. The second TP comes across. The other ones could focus on pressuring towards the back of the site, towards spawn. And now with this 1v1 towards the elbow, that's the information of all 3 players over at DSG. The last 2 coming in, tap on a spike. Donuts trying to move forward. Lazy Line coming in for the support.
Oh
Lace
God, what happened?
The hookah area on
What
that
happened? We had the first pick and then the Cypher just flanked.
Great round from Complexity, and again, the patience
Oh,
from both the
no.
player and the Cypher there.
I
Race and Lacey
remember.
had such a great duality there to have that early distraction.
Yeah, we didn't see any kills that
Complexity
fight.
was focusing more on A-Long than what was actually in play. But keep in mind, though, a lot of audio was brought out inside of B-Long. That allowed Misu and Unstable to be without information against them, to scale out and really try to disrupt those rotates. But the timing of Lacey again in that end round was way too good and a little too far out for that timings to work out for DSG. Let's see what happens here now. A little bit more defragmentation outside of A site. Has yet to be poked by Complexity. force that yet again. The Trailblazer early on to come out, but keep in mind, no Cascade this time. Unstables by themselves.
Yeah, but look at the objective. Right now, as the pressure is coming in for Complexity on long B, they were trying to move towards the showers to maybe get that orb if it was too slow for Complexity on the start. But already, Complexity going for the all-out execution within this B side. The high tide's not going to slow anybody down. This will be an easy plan for Complexity. A full retake with utility.
Yo, we can't just let them on the side for free, can we?
Weapon difference now. Unstable.
What?
First to fall, no more flashes.
Yeah, easy picks there for Jazzikins. Really
Break the armor, break the armor. Okay, Jazzy and
Race
is low.
That's actually a great objective.
Take some guns off him.
At the
Come
same
on.
time, you're building up these ult orbs as well for your attack side. It could be very important. I mean, you look at Jazzikins and also Akara, aka Chaewon, as this guy. They're getting really close to being.
Oh yeah. That's what we needed. Yeah.
Still some nice damage being done by DSG. 2 kills coming through.
You know what? They all lost armor and they lost some guns. We'll take it.
So it'll make the buy not as expensive for Complexity, but you are dwindling down that economy.
I do want to mention, though, the buys going into that last round, there was the Hero Vandal that came out for Lacey, and it was lost at the very last second. I'm glad Claudia ended up picking it up, because this early on, even if it's just a rifle, could be such a heavy investment that could hurt Complexity so much later on. But we did talk about it at the early of last round. DSG, they're looking for this anti-scaling so much against Complexity. They're using that lack of information, the lack of bodies from Complexity, to see where they can scale up the most. But this is Complexity's first time hitting showers. And the anti-scaling that's really going to be tested here with Lazy.
Yeah, they want to push it forward. They want to grab that orb for.
Nice.
But Lazy line fully blinded, gets the first blood onto Jazzikins. Vulnerable by the snake bite being thrown. A flash, now forcing a TP forward from Unstable. Donut
Mid.
Well. Dropping 2 players towards the A side, so that
close.
pivot came back. They denied that orb.
That was very
and they're
close.
Also forcing
Good kill.
Complexity
Keep the
to
guns.
just
Keep the
re-pivot towards
guns.
the B site.
Oh, it's an expedition back over to B site, completely empty. Keep in mind too, Donut, Util set up on A site. There's no trip.
No. Why do I get the feeling they're gonna get 2 here?
But keep in mind, you don't really need much. It's nothing but pistols. Foregoing those weapons.
Why do I got a sneaking suspicion they're gonna get 2 kills on
There's
us
no
here?
tradability. Claudia and Chaewon, so separate from each other.
Oh, these guys full save. They didn't keep any guns.
As a distraction.
That's the important thing. I mean, everybody's separated. You mentioned that. So
don't lose a gun.
Is going to be
Don't lose a gun.
The objective at least getting that orb up, getting 1 kill for Claudia. Once again, that plant came in for J1, so the Sky Ult's going to be ready potentially within the next round if the objective is going to be fighting for showers or fighting for long for that orb. So DSG, they're going to have to find a way to find that information early where that pressure is coming from.
I'm glad you mentioned that too. Ult farming's looking good. Like you mentioned, J1, 1 ult point off of the dogs. I'm sorry, the Seekers. But keep in mind now, if you're DSG, you're recognizing that, and you're going to be holding and camping those orbs for such a long time. Showers, B long, already positions DSG like they take so early on. We can see Misu setting up for the Cascade, making sure that orb has to be long, hard fought if J1 wants to have maximum information into this round.
All right, and player is also towards this B side. So a flash through the TP, they realize that there's no early pressure towards this shower, so the orb goal here for Complexity seems to be towards this B side. This is going to be read by DSG, but look at the repivot. They want to give that. They don't care. They're going to stay and take control of this.
J1 picks up orb. That's huge. Seekers now will reveal so many pivoting positions, especially Misu inside of elbow. It's going to reveal a hookah, but it's not enough. Race already falls. That post-plant Molly's completely gone outside of Claudia's Molly.
So once again, a great adjustment that we just did there for
Man,
DSG.
we can't just be letting them on
the long B side. But the plant will still come through. You're playing a little bit more passively towards the back of the site.
We can't just keep... We know that they know we have 3 hookah, man.
All the defenders now posted up towards this hookah. 3 out in there. A flash to allow for them to push out. Fully blinded is Jazzikins, forced to fall back towards the octagon. The crossfire is still set up though. She gets that pick onto Lazy line and the trade-off happens. Still the advantage comes out here. Now make that a Jazzikins. In that last frag onto Dodonut. Complexity, a hold in their gun round.
This is looking so good from Jazzy. I mean, even just a few rounds
ago, we gotta be running
toe-to-toe
3B or
against Lazy
something.
Line. We're seeing that brevity, that ferociousness from her returning yet again. It wasn't great on Lotus from her yesterday, but bringing it back now on Bind, that comfortability's coming back in so much force. But keep in mind too, DSG found 1 huge anchor point on B side that Complexity just haven't pushed into yet. That's gonna be hookah. Early on though, DSG loved to dump that util down B long.
They've just been going B long. Let's hold them on B long.
Control, it's a hard-fought battle for Complexity to return once they get that spike down. Early flash for information, the Cascade goes up. Not much counterplay there for Complexity. They're forced to go for a standstill. Not to mention over on A side too, you have the Sky Smokes going down. Lazy's forced to shoot through to maybe rack up some damage. Surely now, maybe another guiding light for the push-up now from DSG. They've yet to find much distance outside of this save, but it's unstable to fall. 4 rifles left alive. This is an important round.
Sorry, that was
for
just
keeping not only these
Sheriff.
bodies alive, but converting the round 2 for DSG.
Something that Unstable was doing a lot in their game yesterday as a Sky, trying to find information on that sunset and try to get the early pick, but getting punished right away, it gives a very big disadvantage for DSG within this round. Now you have to only have one player pretty much holding the B-side solo, and you're already expending all your utility of Misu. The only thing she has left is a Cove, but for Complexity, they want to take that power of numbers, taking advantage of this B-side. Lazy line and Hana.
Wow, good kill, Hana.
So no utility to hold back there as an orbital strike comes down.
Oh my god. Misu with the nice hold.
Now the spike is down. 30 seconds left. Lace is the last player remaining. Inching up, scaling up on this 1v1 just around the
nice Misu. Good hold.
And DSG gets the second round.
I think we were a little worried in the mid-round there about Misu using all that utility so early on.
Very
but the stall
well
between her and Hana was fantastic. Using the sky smokes directly outside the entry of B main, having elbow control with the high tide to stall out someone like Jazzy's
Good.
huge entry
Make
into
them
these
use their
rounds
timeout.
was not enough to just stall out these positions, remove the 1v1s, no tradability for Complexity whatsoever, forcing out what is a pretty early timeout for Complexity.
A very interesting one. I wonder if they want to try to work something out of, I think it was a showstopper that was available here for Jazzykins on the attack. Because if I look correctly, I don't think they have too much economy to work with. So is it going to be some sort of push and pull, create some space with the showstopper, or just focus that within the round after when you actually have the economy and that money to work with on Complexity side?
It's going to be tough, because if you're relying on the showstopper, you have Misu having these fantastic reads with the Cascade so early on, info supplied by the Sky Guiding Lights, and then mid-rounding too, you have Hana being introduced with all the Sky Smokes there again. There's a lack of vision. If Jazzy does want to entry with that showstopper, it has to be practically blind, but we haven't seen an A main take yet.
It's not too bad though, because looking at how DSG's been playing, it's been a lot of like the give up towards the B side if there's pressure, and overall just playing a lot of retakes if you're getting flooded by that utility here from your.
Oh,
there is going to be a buy around it. Looks like we have a hero rifle coming out from Claudia, so they do want to leverage his showstopper, and it's inching towards this B site where maybe it could be safe for a post plan, because I mentioned before DSG are okay giving up all the sites every single time they have hard hits.
they give it up, but whenever COL go for B
they're
side,
on
they
eco,
like
right?
to take Hookah back. But if Jazzy wants to bring out showstopper, there it is. That'll be huge to take off.
No, okay, oh god.
DSG's always relied on.
Reckoning is just a little bit off, but Mizu plays the off angle just by the area.
Oh, that almost late as well. Okay, one of them has a gun. We know there's one on site. We know there's one on site.
Thankfully, though, Jaskins has a Vandal to work with. The Seeker just gave her position.
What?
The back of the site.
Okay, that was a little
drops
crazy.
down on the top of the boxes, and this is looking grim now for Lace, the last player standing, only with a classic. So a nice deniability from Mizu at the bottom of that window.
Spike is lost. Economy into this last round for Complexity wasn't the biggest thing in the world, but the entry capabilities for that showstopper was enough. But DSG, they know how to divide out B-side defensively to make sure they can remain with those power positions, whether that be elbow in this round or Hookah all the various other rounds. Guiding Light comes through. A lack of information, recognizing Lacey cannot be inside of Garden. A pickup though. Lacey now with the Vandal.
Props to the Observer. Some nice little free cam.
I love that.
Showing that Lace now. Flash forward, kill onto Lazy Lines.
Honestly, she got the trade.
I mean, Lace, but there's just
the Cypher ended up getting one more kill, right? So it's definitely pretty good.
To tie up the game. To start things off now for the Cozy Clash for day number 2. I mean, we had a very strong start on the first day yesterday, and it's looking to be a very strong start here on this second day as well for these teams.
Yeah, and again, historically for both DSG and Complexity, this has been a very comfortable map for both. DSG, again, we've seen so much with the double controllers capabilities, but Complexity now, they have to fight their way through. I like their pacing in the early rounds, how they're slowing themselves down a little bit more. DSG been using so much utility so early on, and if Complexity can just bait that out and rotate more,
thank you for the sub, White Edge, Mohid, and Barbecue Roast.
Down yet again. Fast entry capabilities, Dodo not hiding. Oh, that Cyber Cage is nasty.
High Tide 2 is going to make things difficult, but
what?
looks like it was red. Jaskin clears the corner within the cage.
Misu gets 2. Let's go, Misu.
So playing under this window, not affected by any flashes. She capitalizes on the situation of not having any Sky Flash blinding her. Jaewon's low on HP, speaking out the sky as the TP comes across on the A site, and for a plant to go towards spawn. So actually, the advantage comes back in
They're
favor
gonna
of
play
Complexity
from
most play.
A
Good
heaven.
anti-rotates. No real information. Guiding lights for Chaewon not available. No tripwires either. It's gonna be a complete blind push now from DSG. They do have 2 guiding lights for Unstable to work off of, but again, taking
We
space
have
is so
one
important.
smoke.
You're
We
gonna
can
reveal your
smoke off
position if you
heaven.
do so. But hidden away, Complexity, a seemingly clear sight. Little does DSG know. They must assume. Inside of spawn has to be all of them.
Lazy Lion's just playing the contact. Now
Kim
off the contact
Chae-wong
there,
is just
Zeggies
face checking that.
Nades being thrown up towards the heaven. The second flash, keeping Claudia blinded, hit by Unstable.
Oh my god,
There's
that.
a 360, 720 to 900. Tony Hawk.
Wait, I don't know about that
As
play
Hannah
by
gets
Complexity.
the
You plan
defuse
for
and
A
the kill.
heaven, you're
DSG now take the
putting
lead
yourself in
this
2
first map.
choke points. You don't play any other position.
Very rarely have they been diffuses now. The
Seems
second one available.
Extremely
DSG again,
risky.
just playing off the lack of information
Like
that
you're just
Complexity have
putting
provided.
yourself in a
They're
choke
just
hold.
waiting, pushing up, unafraid. And there hasn't been too many lurks now from Complexity outside of that starting pistol round. We're seeing a little bit more defragmentation from Complexity this time around. Jazzy almost on a solo journey, and
And there another pistol
as I
round.
say that, everyone in Complexity grouping back up. But at the very least, it's a split push. Lacey will be trying to either bait out information inside of B long, or even just pushing past and disrespecting this. Oh, Cascade, but what about
Oh
Unstable?
my god.
Unstable's getting 2, drops down. And now you're playing the numbers. Falling back, you still have traps set up by Dodonut within the site, so very smart from DSG. Despite playing against
We
a
need to
lower
protect
buy
that
from
gun, right?
Complexity, they still just want to make sure that they capitalize on these rounds. So for Complexity, they lose so much control of this map. Look at how DSG is even pushed up towards short
Alright, they
A.
get one of our
They're
guns. They
even
put it
flanking there,
on
so it's
the
confirmed
Viper
now that
though.
these players
Viper,
are
no help.
just pinned within this long B and Sands.
And these flanks haven't been punished. The high tide up once again, forcing Complexity to engage with the flank.
Oh, I'm liking this. They're walking back towards it. They actually knew it. The Sixth Sense comes out for
Nice,
Complexity,
Hannah.
but Hannah's there for the trade. Lazy Lion falls, but Hannah gets 2.
Never flank
It's
by
up to Lace,
yourself.
Guardian in
Never
hand.
flank by
Trying
yourself.
to get another
There's always
1v1,
one
maybe
more.
isolate, maybe another push coming out from DSG towards the
No,
hookah. So she's trying to find that right now.
Shin XG, thank you for the
That's
sub.
going to be the main objective, not the spike yet. There's that jump in. There's that
What are we
overlap.
doing?
I mean, there's the punish. Very well done by Lace. Just on the offense.
What are we doing?
Bang also onto Mizu. There's the ult. Weapon picked up. You know where the
What are we
last player
doing?
is at with the
30
spike.
seconds. There's very little time. This has to be perfect from Lace. Spike given away, but look at that stim beacon. It's a trace of where Hannah was. It's a wraparound.
You
though.
I
know that with
mean,
ult,
the
right?
trace
So at the same time, the
would be the out.
stim
that she
is
just
allowing you to
used.
walk across the other way. 13 seconds left on the clock. You're going to start booking it, and it's all going to get heard by Hannah.
10 seconds left.
A plant safe is
Oh
going to be
no.
a good one.
Is there time? Just barely. Oh, milliseconds left.
Hannah 80 yeses. What a shot there by Lace. A fake plant to come in with the Lenovo Legion clutch. The
Why?
1v1 win.
Like,
And now
I
we have,
can't.
Once again, a game in our hands.
I can,
Unbelievable
man.
from Lacey there. I mean,
Like,
the
we
middle
always
depth in
do
the
this
beginning,
shit.
the
3v1
stim beacon to show that
advantage,
Hannah's
we do
probably
this
not gonna
shit.
be in that position where she was discovered already. The wrap around, the read, B long, all that time so perfectly for Lace. And the
Okay, I don't even blame
nerves
Hannah
of
for that one. That was a
skill,
nasty
too.
shot.
To fake a 4-second plant already, that gives you no time. If you let go and don't get the kill, 10 milliseconds to spare, you lose the round automatically.
That's the game sense on Lace, right? With that ult, you know where your player is going to be coming from. With 4 seconds left, they want to try to deny it. So she looks into the right angle. That said, though, change of pace. We're going to hold that back. DSG's pushing forward with a Reckoning across, and it's off angles being played. A tray off on both ends. Hannah's pushing forward.
Okay,
That's
Hannah,
the players pushing
she's
out
like
for the
that.
showers. Instantly,
She's
once
like
again,
that.
It's a 3 versus 1 and a player dropping down towards the market. And that was a bloodbath there going out from DSG.
I'm gonna
A
forget
great
about
way
what
to
happened
answer
last
back
round.
on a
I'm
clutch
gonna
that you saw from
boop,
Lace.
out of my
How
mind
long
now.
was that round?
Didn't happen.
15 seconds?
Over 9,000 seconds.
Oh, yes. What, 9,000?
Oh, yeah.
I don't think my reader can go that high, Vans. 5-4, though. Still a competitive game. The buys, though, not looking that great. Race does have Viper's Pit. It's a bold move, but if you can get on site in their complexity, it's a good way to at least get rid of those lines of sights. But again, that's been DSG's battleground. So much of the double controller. Viper, while dividing out A site much more differently than normal, this early high tide does allow the capabilities to scale out, and Jazzy's forced to watch. Lace, the pop shots, the camera to see where it's unstable could be, but no, shot down instantly. Provides info, but what? Oh no, Lacey, the flash will do it all.
Timing from Lace, she hears the double footsteps. But as she leans out,
Nice,
watched there by
Misu's
both
getting
players,
crispy.
Unstable and Mizu. So that player falls
Been
down. That's the
practicing?
strongest weapon that you had here for Complexity within this round. And yeah, just a little bit of a defaulting, trying to figure things out, trying to punish once again the
Dodo nut
over
with the
commitment
double
from
frag.
DSG that they've been punished from time to time. But with the weapons that you got, you're seeing the results in the end. Complexity with only one more player left alive.
Yeah. At this point, just kind of dialing themselves back, talking with the team, looking for maybe the chase now. DSG, they have 5 left alive. You could go for it if you really wanted to.
Hey,
But the
not
buys
this
for
shit
Complexity
again.
again, it's a similar symptom that what we had
Not
seen
this
back
shit
on Split
again.
versus Little Bros. An up buy, a down buy, an up buy, and a down buy. The economy now is the biggest struggle factor for the team. They can make those entries in all they want, but you're dividing the amount of rounds that you have to have competitive rifles by half.
Yeah, well, they have it now. A couple of ults to work with at the same time.
Oh, a lot, a
answering
litany.
against DSG.
This has to be the bring back round now. Viper's Pit, the Seekers, that enough could be good to secure the round. Timeout now from Disguised, interesting. Oh, well, I mean, 4 ults from each side, or essentially 4. It's enough to figure out, okay, this will be another bloodbath round, but in what way? Normally when we see so many ultimates, attacking teams like to gear themselves back over to A site. But with the Viper's Pit, the Seekers, I'm assuming that will be what the case is. But Claudia's Orbital Strike, I think, is the biggest unknown factor. For attacking teams, we normally see maybe an early Orbital Strike inside of lamps, just to remove that power position. But because Complexity have been fighting for Spike and post-plant so often, I wouldn't be surprised if they dial themselves back and just wait for post-plant for the tap to use Orbital Strike.
Yeah, it's also been like 10 rounds that we've gone through where we haven't seen Complexity try to take really good control or aggressive controls for short A or U-Haul. So using that is going to be a little bit of a blind ult when you don't really know where the positioning of DSG is at on the A site. Although all this pressure is coming in towards B, maybe the focus is going to be there again. But for DSG, calling that timeout when they have the lead, when they won the way that they did, is maybe to try to punish that. There's probably going to be the ones with the element of surprise. And seeing this Raze moving towards the teleporter and the push moving forward from short, there could be a possibility of eventually a pinch into Sands if they're seeing the Complexity pressure over towards his hookah again. But thankfully for Complexity, it's a 2-1-2, a default play, flash being thrown towards Showers. That's going to have you guessing here.
And talk about that surprise factor. Usually on those 4 ult rounds, a team like Complexity would just barrel on an A site. That's why we see the double tripwire setup from Dodo Nut. Cascades to the early util, really being expelled from both lanes of each map, or each site. Guiding Light finds no information.
Lisa Zemo,
Jackson's
thank you for
just
the 6
outside.
months.
The Seekers, though, in return, gives a huge tell that B site's the way that Complexity wants to go. And look at this. Misu's guarding that teleporter to ensure that Complexity has to be funneled in the B site.
Your trail.
The counter seeker is on the attack. This will be an opportunity for a high tide to come through, just to slow it down for a bit, but there's not going to be any trap plays coming from behind. It's an orbital strike.
Okay. Oh my god, Hannah cooked 2 of them.
So maybe a little bit of a misread coming out for Complexity, maybe trying to get some sort of timing by jumping outside the window, but omitted the fact that Hannah had her orbital strike. So now you only have 2 players left alive. Hat being thrown out to get the information on the last 2 players. Another full roster for DSG against dwindled numbers of Complexity.
30 seconds left now.
30
Different
seconds
situation than before. Complexity need to keep these rifles alive. Lace, 1 kill, 1 orb off of getting their ult that could maybe bring things back, but the timer's far too low. It's a big save now for Complexity and a broken bind to the final round. Oh, but can they survive? The chase is on for DSG now.
10
From 2
seconds
different angles, you have Showers, the double peek. You have the double peek too from Deep Sands. Anywhere you go for Jaewon, you have to find info with this guiding light. There it is, the double swings out.
Flash off
Jaewon?
the trip.
Oh no, even Lacey was flashed. That's not good. Oh, keep him alive. 2 seconds. Oh, beautiful. Removing so many guns is good for Complexity, but they're not harmed for any money at all. DSG have nearly double the rounds now of Complexity.
I mean, DSG is
Ah,
also
man, we could have taken one
tripling
more
the
gun.
amount of money there. So for them losing 1 player with the hunt down against the players of Complexity, losing 1 weapon versus a very important weapon for Complexity is a huge win on their end.
Dodo Nut has an operator. Not something we typically get to see from a Cypher. I thought for sure it would be Lazy Lion, who, guess what, also has an operator. They must be assuming that Complexity is just refusing to push A. Surely they do for the final round, but no. Complexity again, round after round, they choose to focus B.
Yeah, well, like, as we mentioned, they have a lot of money to work with, right? So you try to off, you don't see anybody, you can drop it. There's probably a Vandal somewhere within the site. Pick that up on a rotate while you're holding aggressive angles.
He's just grabbing
on
orbs,
the 2
so
players
what?
within the A
They have
site.
full
So
ult here. That's pretty good.
DSG, they have full control of this round. Complexity smoked out, and they have to hold for a bit.
Yeah. Attempted lurk now, potentially from Race. Really trying to bait out this wall here. Not a lot of baited plays from Complexity this half.
Nice,
The timing on that one from
Misu.
Misu was really nice. Showstopper then comes out on the attack. There's that rotate coming through here from DSG as they lose Unstable in the process of anchoring towards that site. Lazy Line on their rotate.
Got another kill. What spectator? What spectator? What doing?
Smoke also available. Misu with the whole kit. And she'll be looking to pivot back towards this hookah area. You'll see the suffocating retake once again of DSG against Complexity.
Great stall. Sky Smoke was down. Molly in return. Jazzy cannot push up or
Nice.
strike out.
Preemptive one, but at least it runs the time down. There's
Just a stall.
only one player able to come through. Nice little Molly. The cove then comes across and gets broken. There's
Nice.
the push forward. And unfortunately,
Nice,
there for Complexity, won't be able to hold the
Nice,
pulse plan.
Hannah.
That preemptive
Do
orbital
it.
strike was not enough to hold, to actually
She's
hold
definitely
DSG
improved.
back as they take the lead the first half, 8-4.
Yeah, the mechanical prowess from DSG, you have a lot of duelist potential on your team, whether it be, Dodonut, you have Unstable, Lazy Line, all of them can definitely mold into different roles and use the util of the respective roles here to just find that aggressive prowess. Look at this here from Hannah. Yeah, 301 ACS. Her and Misu have just been this dominant factor. Pretty similar to what we'd seen yesterday between Flowerful and Julia. This dynamic duo setting up your more aggressive players for success, and even for the last round of retake.
Yeah, so good for these two players on both ends for Misu and Hannah. Hannah just holding down the A side, multi-kills going into that one. And then you have on the other end just your other controller holding the B side. So it doesn't really matter for trap plays at this point when DSG is firing the way that they do
on a
between
7-1
Hannah
run.
and Misu. And now they take the attacking side though, a push towards the B side. Complexity has two players right there, a jump spot to start, nades to come down, a flash to peek right after, but the flash is not going to get too much. It was just to isolate that middle
All we
hallway
used
because
was
you had
one
that smoke
bird.
coming in deep. And DSG
I mean, one dog, and
moving
then
back
they
down
used the
towards the
bird
side.
and the
All
smoke.
potential on both sides, though, for Complexity. The
And a
Viper wall
nade.
huge for both Huga and inside Deep Garden. But there's that crossfire up above. Good call for DSG on this rotate. Spy cam for Lazy, though, should be able to give the plot away. Showers hasn't been tripped yet. It's a funnel now for DSG. They just need lamps control.
There's a flash first, but the commitment is still trying to break the Cypher utility within this A side.
Oh.
The camera never got broken. So the pivot goes back towards this B side. A double push down towards
Oh,
Donut's watching it and is
the
keeping an eye on it.
rapperoonie,
A wall
rapperoni.
comes up as well, allowing the defenders to rotate back for Complexity.
Oh
The
my
wall
God,
then
guys,
comes down and
there's
they
still a
hold
guy
the
outside.
first
There's
two
still,
kills.
yes.
Then DSG's answer rights back. A
Dude,
1v1 within the side, a dink forward onto Lace, but she stays alive as she wins that fight against Misu. Donut now in a 2 versus 1. An opportunity to clutch this one here.
No
but as she
way!
throws out the cage,
She's
Reyes gets the timing to swing out and they pick up the kill. And that's Complexity now.
She's
with 2 disarrounds in this first match.
Absolutely. Complexity again, having that read, that surprise factor.
I mean, it's
DSG
just bad
recognized,
timing.
We
It's
don't
not
know
her
what's on
fault.
A site. Let's take the teleporter back over to B side, take hookah control, something that we'd see Complexity take too much of on their own attacking side. But again, Complexity, they had the quick rotations, they had the bodies on site already. They had the right read. It's the same setup again going into this next round now. Same Viper wall, yes it is. And A side now, double Sentinel, well, Sentinel and semi-Sentinel presence. But the stack up for Complexity here with better weaponry on B side is going to be very interesting, especially with the all near fake information outside B long.
Already ADAC with the Bulldog. Easy pick first there for Jazzican. So very similar fashion of what we've seen from the first half. Now Jazzican picking up some kills. Claudia doing the same thing towards this octagon area. And as we talked about,
Nice,
dissecting the
Misu.
map, trying to inch forward
And she
very
got
closely
hers.
and sectioning this B site.
got her.
All the players of Complexity were playing within that wall, so they denied everybody from DSG.
I love how forward-facing Complexity is playing this defense. They're anticipating the high tide for Misu to be that zone of where the initiation, execution, and the spike plant should be. Of course, Hannah's Sky Smokes are a little bit more known. People know where those smokes are going to be going down. She has been playing them differently, much more aggressive, similar to Misu, but that just allows Complexity to get that drop down on DSG. And suddenly now, a 2-round differential, Vans. The buys are not that great for Complexity anymore. This is their bonus. And the rifles for DSG all the more important to save this round.
Keeping with the Ghost. So I wonder here in the bonus round, I mean, they haven't lost too many players in the process of that previous round, so are they trying to get an op out early for Jazzkins or for Lace potentially? So we'll have to keep an eye out on that. But meanwhile, for this round 15, DSG just defaulting a slow pivot towards this A side, while for Complexity, still an information game. A flash came out towards the long, but nobody's really moving.
This will be huge. Trailblazer soon to discover that Dodonut trip. That's gigantic. I'm sorry. No, the Lace trip. Dodonut good for the opening pick, though. Race falls. Now suddenly B-side could be all the more open, but A-side seems to be dedicated.
Yeah, it's definitely the A side open right now with only Lace
Oh my god.
Flash within the smoke, the push comes forward.
Flash
Nicely
into
done by
a
DSG
smoke?
to isolate Lace and drop her.
That's
Now Trailblazers are coming out, so
crazy.
fast rotate out from Complexity. Again, lure buy that you have on a defense. You're
I've
trying to do as
never-
much damage as you can.
I mean, like,
But it's
it
looking
makes sense, but I
pretty
actually
near
never
good
seen
here for
anyone,
DSG to
like,
get a
do it.
flawless until I do the caster curse. Jessica gets the pick, a 3-versus-1. Camera sponsor picks up a Vandal at the same time, but that clock is still ticking down on that spike. Nice Ferrari peek there with the satchel,
Damn.
but Donut's
Not
there
gonna
in the
lie,
end
Jazzy
to trade it
kills.
right off on the top of the boxes, and that's
Ooh, we lost 3
DSG
guns
winning
for
their
that.
gun round.
It wasn't a round win for Complexity, but they did enough damage to hurt the buys in the future for DSG. 2 rifles kept alive, a single light shield in tow.
Damn, we're forcing
Utility
it?
still bought, but again, the buys are not in a great spot for either one of these teams. Ult cycling, though, is looking good for DSG. Unstable now 1 point away from getting the Seekers to return. Dodonuts, too. Information abound. One more off Neural Theft. The default should return to farm for those orbs. Wouldn't be too surprised if Complexity again looking to play so aggressive on their defense to farm and hold those orbs to make sure DSG cannot find any more info.
This is good that they put Jazzikins towards the showers, though, because Unstable's 1 away from that Seekers, as you mentioned, and they're focusing on that to start things off. So this is an opportunity to just go for a showstopper off a tap. DSG has to be aware of this right now, as they haven't really used the Trailblazer to get the info yet.
Oh no, the timing of that Viper wall already DSG scale past.
It's a flash. There you go. Fully blind. Doesn't matter. Showstopper with the big
What?
nice assist from Lace as well, as they double up and take control of showers and deny all of that util.
She was
And
just in
also
shower with
the
a rocket
Seekers from
launcher.
Unstable. Huge advantage to start things off for Complexity.
Absolutely no spike picked up though. Minute left on the clock. Still poking, prodding,
Chilled
discovering.
Asian.
No
Thank you for
map
the 6
space
months.
gained at all for DSG. What can you
Is
do
this
here
is
now?
a
Formulating, putting yourself
is
back
this a
together. Keep in
save
mind
angle?
that Viper wall connecting from the teleporter over on B site. Should cut off Hookah. Should cut off Garden. Trailblazer to help secure at least a
I don't
little
really
bit
want
more
to
info.
save,
Doesn't
man.
spot anybody. Timing of DSG scaling the Hookah is too good. The race has the info.
Oh, the dink, and then finally with the Phantom, the wall
Jesus.
bang through the boxes.
Okay, guys, it's
Hannah
save
falls,
time.
and that's the spike as well.
It's save
30
time.
seconds left on the clock, and Elise gets one through
It's
the
save
smoke from
time.
the spawn.
It's
So
save time.
unfortunately, it's up to Misu, and I think at this point on a 5-versus-1, you're going to have to save. This is going to be a very important swing round for both of these teams within the next. You're trying to at least hurt the economy for Complexity within the next round, but as you've mentioned there, that those Seekers that were available for Unstable, if they actually picked up the orb towards showers,
10
they
seconds
now
left.
have that opportunity to start cycling those ults. Donut has their Neural Theft available as well, so this is a great important round for DSG going into round number 17.
One big losing factor yesterday between Complexity and Little Bros was the fact that Complexity wanted to stall on their defense, but was just completely bypassed by the aggressive prowess of a Raze. Of course, at the time, it was Sonder, but now you have to worry about Lazy Lion. We're seeing these setups from Race, having again that Viper wall from Hookah all the way into the teleporter of A-Site. But the wall has seemingly come up too late. It's a disrespect from DSG. They're pushing right past it. It's putting all that more pressure on your IGL Jazzy to hold down a big choke point of the map. But interestingly, DSG haven't picked up the spike yet. Oh, no, there we go. They double back for it. But they haven't been holding the spike for too long. They're willing to go for a last-second execute on either A or B, whatever they find more optimal. Early guiding line's going to find a wealth of info, but there's the guiding line return. Lazy?
Trying to do a surprise, but that flash did not affect
Oh,
Chaewon at all. So Carl gets the pick onto Lazy Lion, and that was an attempt to try to at least gain some grounds and maybe use ults right after. But you still have their hero rifle at least for Misu. Maybe she could open things up as she's moving up to meet up with her teammates here up towards Long B.
Donut scaling in past showers. Everyone on DSG ready for that teleporter. Unstable's going to take the risk and sneak their way in as a distraction.
The flash out. Kara's pushing forward. He's with the support, so all of them falling
Guys,
down. They're
damage.
definitely not going to try
Damage.
to use it in Neural Theft here. Maybe try to pick up a weapon, try to get a backstab kill, and Jazzikins just alert, not going for the over-rotate. Very well done here for Complexity. A flawless round from Lenovo Legion is a great way to actually answer back against DSG.
I gotta say, I'm so surprised that DSG took that risk. Besides Unstable, to scale past that Viper wall and push into B site. Completely blind, no information. Donut had that scale. They had that flank ready, the rotate, all the way through showers, and they were making their way up forwards. But Complexity didn't over-rotate. 9 and 10 now, Disguise go for their timeout once again. Mid-rounding's been a little bit of an issue now. The communication seemingly needs to get back on track, especially if they want to start going for more of these solo plays on the opposite side of a map.
Yeah. Now we have a lot of this last timeout being called by DSG. Economy's good. Altar there. But you're going to have to play against Complexity, who's been cushioning up the money now. After getting a flawless on that previous round, they definitely have a lot more money to work with now. So the momentum's really coming back for Complexity to tie up this game, to actually take the lead. And yeah, it's going to be very intriguing here to see what DSG is going to come up with after their timeout.
Curious to see now, like you mentioned, the holds from Complexity have been so good. I like that they're not over-rotating. They're holding themselves steadfast and making sure, again, they have info and stall potential on both sites. I do see those defensive pings, though, on the teleporter. Could very well just be, again, Jazzy looking to take those early fights. I love the info gathering outside of B long as well. But no real setup changes from Complexity's end. They've been finding themselves with a lot of success, having the Cypher hold on A site, and Viper, of course, with the info on B. But it's a 4-stack outside of B long yet again. Early Cascade to avoid the guiding light. I think too far away, too, for someone like Che1 to not hear the Cascade. So they go for the guiding light, they assume it's safe, but they go past the Cascade anyways.
Good here for Kara to use the second flash right away, so gets the information, jiggles across and sees a lot of players moving up towards the long B. So there's the Seekers, and it's perfect timing to get the wall up, even the Molly coming out to deny and delay these snake bites, or sorry, the Seekers.
What are we doing, guys? We use the ult just to chill here?
Now that this wall comes down, and Lazy Lion has the showstopper to work with.
Big change now, Dota not in showers, having hookah control. Good for the split push going in. It's a matter now to see what can the Trailblazer find. Information, high tide, so needed. Oh! Wow! Through the smokes!
That timing,
We lost you guys to smokes.
Wall coming back up, and you're just running bullets through, denying all those ults. An advantage in terms of players here as Dota is trying to do the hero play. Information now, Neural Theft coming out. There's that Molly coming through, just trying to delay, but it misses. So there's an opportunity for Dota to work the map, pick up the spike, and maybe even come back towards the B side.
Wait, they're trying to fight 1v1?
Boombot.
Jazz
discovered.
Not gonna spot her yet. So this could be false information right now, but the smoke dissipates. Jazzykins now get spotted. Dodonut now makes it a 1 versus 1. The plant comes in, and you saw the Molly that came up from the spawn, so she knows that Claudia's there. Swings out for the kill instantly, and another.
My God.
Clutch, this time coming out for DSG.
She liked that.
Dota and Lace, the smarts, the brains of B-side Cypher.
She's like that, huh?
If you're Complexity, you don't need to have to see anybody. You have your Phantoms, you hold down, you see the high tides are open, and you can just spray through from the timings against DSG. And DSG, that's the #1 issue for them right now. They get these choke points, and they think they're safe to push in. The high tides are open, and they should have that spacing.
My God.
But Phantom doesn't have tracers. You could just spray through on the other side. What do you do now? B-side seemingly locked out now for DSG. May have to contest Lace now, directly head on with these tripwires. Oh, Reckoning's huge. Look at that pivot, though, from Complexity. They hide in
Wait, there's no one here.
The Reckoning should be good to clear out all that information space
We
on
use
A
2
side.
ults,
They
at least we have.
retake.
Camera's not broken yet though, so Lace there
Yo,
you go,
plant the
finally gets
bomb.
broken here, so they know that Lazy Lion's playing towards the bench. Very aggressive start for DSG with the double ult. They're just waiting for that plant. There's still an opportunity now because of this rotate that came through to still deny. They have mollies they could throw, they have snake bites they could throw, and they're just waiting for that tap here.
We're using so much util.
Angling here from the high
We got
smokes, not great
we
for
got
the
no
Lazy Lion, good
smokes
for
left.
1. Race falls.
Through 2 smokes.
We still have wall at least.
Unlucky. Now Seekers coming out. Time for Complexity to try to retake the site. Flooding in just behind those Seekers. Unstable still holding within the back of the site.
Okay, Unstable.
Protect them as they're moving forward.
And
isolating 1 first kill. A second
Okay,
one
Unstable.
A third one potential, but denied there by Claudia. Advantage once again. Only 1 more player remaining for Complexity. That's Lace on a 4 versus 1. Orbital strike on a pulse plant. This is going to be impossible. I mean, the Hana's already holding all the way back towards the showers.
Yeah, there's not really much you can do other than look for exits. Hannah there is a last case option, the contingency plan to make sure, okay, if anything doesn't work well aggressively for DSG post plan, we at least have the orbital strike set up, but not needed. And as long as Hannah keeps that in their arsenal, it's going to be all the more scarier for Complexity as these rounds are slipping away. Lace does have that neural theft into the op. Okay, we saw Dota not do similar towards the very end of the first half. I'm curious to see, oh, it's a solo hold on B. Op? I'm looking to see where she wants to play. Could either be top of box that we normally see, or yeah, it could be into hookah, or you could easy scale out maybe from garden. But it looks like she's gonna play for safety here. 4-stack Complexity on A site.
Yeah, camera set up to watch towards Long Beach, so the focus there was just trying to get that.
Oh my god. With the Guardian as well?
Trailblazer coming through. There's the orbital strike, but being used towards the right side, unstable, pushing forward towards the U-Haul to deny.
Can't even be
J1.
mad about that.
And now an opt for a retake, very, very hard to do.
Nice, hit the TP, and then hit the gritty.
But there's also still smokes available, and it's going to be a ring around the rosy. The DSG is actually going back for short once again.
Oh no.
Gets a nice pick though onto Dodonut. That might foil the plans for DSG to start things off.
Back over again, Sky Smoke's back out. A 2v3.
What were we? Who's calling these strats?
They don't know about Jazzy's position inside of lamps.
Beautiful orbital strike just to isolate that. Unstable walking forward, trying to think
2v2.
that they were able to get a surprise
Who's
attack there.
cooking these strats? Okay, if anyone can clutch it, it's Hannah.
Both get denied. Misu's the second one to fall. So thankfully here for Jazzkins and for Claudia, staying cool and getting ready and reading
Don't expose
the
yourself to
towards
heaven,
this A
Hannah.
site gives a huge advantage for Complexity to fight right back. Hannah solo trying to ADS back towards the spawn, and
Yo, we overcooked on that one, not gonna lie.
Big thing to consider too is that Complexity with Lacey set up on defensive B site. The up still unknown. The tripwire placement for those delays outside of the TP from A site still unknown. They can lock down B site and continue to keep force stacking until Lacey's position's discovered. Tripwire's back down yet again. Like you mentioned, that camera to watch B long. Everything for Lacey held down, making sure these trips are pretty much unbreakable, at least instantaneously. But that force stack again is going to lead to a bloodbath.
Yeah, I think if Dodo got one there, it would have been way different.
I've got your trail.
Trying to bust right behind the Seekers once again. Pain shells. I mean,
oh
the
god,
utility for
Misu's
Complexity
down
is
to
really
no
good
health
here to
already.
deny all those Seekers attempts coming out from DSG. And now everything's just going to get reset. All 5 players on the attack, holding back towards the showers.
We're not really using our
Just
ults
waiting to see
very
if
well,
Complexity
man.
push forward behind, denying the Seekers.
Good guiding line, blocking off info, finding some against Complexity. It's a split push though. A very scary one at that. Dodo not leading the charge, dialing themselves back. The smoke's in return. Showers is a no man's land and no one wants to push into it. It's a stall now, 1 minute left. Still not a whole lot of space given to DSG, not a lot of what is in the back site that Complexity has in store. That slow scale out back over. The rotate through Spices into B site. Again, Lacey still undiscovered from the last round. Operator in hand, deep back B site. The only thing that could really stop Lacey now could be Misu's high tide. It's a bad case of the timings though, depending on where that tripwire is placed and how it detects. It's possible though.
We have 30 seconds, guys.
30 seconds left.
We have 30 seconds.
Trailblazer open, info gain, rotate back over to A site, hoping to make Complexity over-rotate. They haven't just yet. 3 stacks still on A.
Dog moving forward and more deniability once again.
Can we stop that?
Clay pigeon shooting.
Can we stop that? We have 15 seconds, guys.
One more time, rather, as Donut's trying to push forward. There's only 13 seconds left. Right now for DSG, they have to commit within this A site. There's that bloodbath coming through. Deniability off the satchels. It's beautiful for Complexity as the spike falls. Now finally one picking it up and
what?
Through the cyber cages.
What are these calls?
DSG falls down and Complexity are 1 round away of tying up the game when they have the advantage of the ults too.
The scare factor that DSG
we're wasting our ults. We're waiting to the last 10 seconds. What are we doing? We're not getting the util out, man.
Do we want to continue to push into this? Can we split push between
like how many times do we need to have outrageous die to a molly?
So we can get the clean hit on A. None of the above has worked. Now that DSG have to go into a thrifty round for themselves, this is looking 11-11, back to an even game for Complexity. Early information with that guiding light. Jazzykins just waiting to camp that teleporter. This will be huge if she pulls it off. She has the showstopper.
Exactly. It's a change in positioning for Complexity, and seeing the amount of times that DSG in this gun round or on a save round are trying to flood a little bit more as a group. They're trying to play the off angle, and the surprise factor once again.
I feel like we've lost every game to OT like in the last 6 months. Like we just don't know how to win. Like what's happening?
Not even needed for the showstopper.
I'm pretty sure if you look at every one of the losses, 6 out of 7. Wait, actually, 6 out of 6 is probably like lost by 2.
Again, nothing but pistols, sheriffs in tow. Forced to re-rotate back over. Luckily, though, this was the pivot for a new setup. Lacey again, 3 rounds in a row, still with the operator, not known by DSG. Surely by this point, they know something's up. They haven't found out exactly what just yet. The high tide's open. Viper wall in return. Not a lot to see from one side of those walls to the other, and the guy
30 seconds. Come on.
Jazzy's still in the perfect spot.
Come on. You know they're probably playing 2-on-2.
Yeah, and as they actually play the power of numbers as well, knowing that there's a lower buy against DSG, they're just keeping 2-2. But this Neural Theft, there's a commitment here from DSG to try to flood within this B site. Trying to get these sprays through the
Help her!
Though, is able to
Why was the swing so slow?
Being set up by Complexity. This is definitely going to be an 11-11 scoreline as Misu falls. And it's going to take the final rounds here to see who's going to capitalize on the first map.
All right, Vance, do you think we're going to go to OT?
I don't want to cast a curse.
Ah,
good game.
All right. I mean, we're already having a really good game from both these teams. A lot of adaptations that we didn't quite see from the defense from Complexity yesterday, now being illuminated here. DSG now struggling again to find something, to any sort of leverage to give themselves.
We keep wasting our, like, we get zero value from our ult. It's so readable.
With the added Viper wall, a little bit more staticness, it's been a hard line.
And I also don't think that they've seen Lace throughout all these rounds with an operator yet. So this is a huge NLS surprise as
2 here. You know there's 2 here. You know Viper and Cypher are playing 2. That means it's 3B.
Naturally, if you're DSG, you either want to go B site or you want to go into showers to contest that Viper pit. That would be Lace there, holding down, using Spy Cam 2 to see if there's any showers presence. Does allow her that freedom to rotate back over and aim down Hookah from B main. And that would be with the op. As soon as that Viper wall were to go down, if there's any presence known inside of Hookah, boom! Instant shot down. And Lazy Lion needs to be worried about that.
Again, they're not getting really any information yet. A flash came down here from Chaewon. They didn't really see anything, so they have to jiggle. This might be an opportunity to punish for DSG. As a Reckoning comes out, Showstopper at the same time, right at the feet.
Jesus! Okay, got the trade.
Donut comes in for the trade. Chaewon
Okay,
then for the pick towards long. It's a 1-for-1. Donut trying to scale back within the site, but there's still a player holding within the smoke, and that is Claudia. A planned attempt from Misu. Not successful yet, as she's forced to fall back away from it. Claudia goes around the orb.
Okay, nice,
once again, a 1-for-1 on both ends. A 2 versus 2 advantage now for DSG, as you have to retake with a not with Lace. Now finally the orb gets broken up as the players are moving in. Cypher ult coming out here from Lace, getting the information on the 2 players here of the attack. Forced to now play outside of the octagon.
Why are we peeking with the scan happening?
That pick. The wall's about to come down as Raze calls it. And now as it comes across,
what are we doing? What are we doing? We know the scan is hitting through the smoke.
Everything being thrown up against them. The Reckoning, the Showstopper, the whole gamut of ultimates that DSG had saved up just for this B-side.
We're gonna lose our 7th game in a row by 2.
Maybe like 5 rounds can finally show that she's been holding that X Factor card, the operator in tow the whole time. 12 now to 11, DSG.
This is going to be our 7th game in a row where we lost by 2.
A-site needs to be locked down. DSG, they may recognize
I think we're much better than we are, but every time we get to like match point or close to match point, I think we just stop playing the game.
Only one on the board for any one of these teams, at least right off the rip. That's Chaewon Seekers. Let's see now. Early guiding light finds a wealth of info. Sky Smoke in return, forced to use utility to push past or just brazenly go past.
Trying to play a bait and switch as you just saw that Trailblazer going out towards the area, and you have Jazzkins just holding the off angle, but that flash is going to blind her.
Nice,
and
unstable.
Even the high tide allows for DSG to isolate that shot and get the pick. Seeker's still available for the
Team
defense,
Chaewon
so
is
that
low.
could be pretty good for a retake, but the advantage starts off for DSG.
I mean, the more and more this round continues,
we don't need to overcook. We don't need to overcook. Either do it or don't do it. Either do it or don't do it.
DSG, that'll mean the Seekers can discover that immediately. Lacey still, operator set up outside of B main. Only one.
Either do it or don't do it.
Jazzy. That means all that controller capability. That
never re-hit.
Oh,
never re-hit. Never re-hit.
Nice
How many times do we gotta go through this? Never re-hit.
Now here comes the
Okay, re-hit's not bad.
Fight back. Hannah with the pick also has an orbital strike. An advantage comes back here for DSG. It's been used towards the elbow just to push the players back to allow DSG to come in for a plan as the last 2 players of Complexity.
We're not using that for post.
Chops the site in half. Forcing util from Race now inside of elbow.
Guys, it's a 3v2. One of them's at 31 health.
2 left alive.
Donut is behind the high tide, so they're playing the element of surprise here. What? How does that happen? A 2 versus 1 up behind the high tide.
Thank you, Dodonut. Thank you. See, Dodonut isn't officially signed to DSG, so she's not cursed at throwing man advantages.
But DSG's biggest strength as a team here in this tournament is having that chemistry, that game sense, knowing exactly where to peak in the proper timings.
Like, I don't understand what's with DSG and losing man advantages. We're at our worst when we're supposed to win.
DSG and Complexity are 2 Lenovo Legion clutches by Donut right there.
Unbelievable.
And that was so nice. We mentioned there, hiding behind a high tide.
Every time we sign a player, they lose the ability to close out games.
But that element of surprise was still always there. A great way to shatter now the confidence of Complexity moving into the overtime. And look at Donut this round. A glass cannon op.
Anybody's game.
We got focus. Focus up, man.
Complexity now playing much more slower than before. Cascade open and B long, not habitable. It's a default everywhere you look. Oh, Dodo, now if you can remove Lazy here, that'll be gigantic for OT.
Cypher off? That's crazy.
We're just playing the information game on both ends. The flashes are coming out, the pinch in, but it's being
what are we doing?
Complexity.
What are we doing? There wasn't even you two. There wasn't even you two. We just dry swing double out of. Not even a flash, a dog, anything.
And a shorty in play.
The flank may not work there. It's going to be a little bit too late, and at the same time, the trap is there. So Donut falls, a glass cannon off, cannot get any result. As even there, the flank is not getting any result either. Mizu, the last player remaining. Showstopper coming out, running down that clock. It's being shot right away, and Complexity are looking to just chase down this last kill. Staying as a death ball, all 5 players together. Wall coming up too on the attack. There is that Cove, the spray to break it right away, and Raze jumps in with the shorty. And we have a Lenovo Legion flawless, and once again, map point for Complexity.
Match point.
Curious to see.
I don't understand why we did the double TP swing out with pretty much no util.
Oh no. What are the buys going to look like? No glass cannon ops whatsoever from Complexity. Their holds, round after round for the defense in the later rounds, have looked so good. The 3-stack once again. No operator from Lace this time
like,
around.
what was that?
Game of safety. Putting those tripwires down instead, making sure full util can stay alive. And for DSG, they found some impact, taking the choke points pretty aggressively off the execute. I'm assuming now Complexity want to play this a lot more aggressively before to make sure that those executes can't even happen.
Especially with that Cascade going a little bit more.
We're using a lot of util. We need to get them to use their util. They've been saving their util for the very end. Or we use a dog, we use a flash. What did we get? We didn't get that much. We need to get them to use their util. Because they've been saving their util for the last second.
Safety is prime here.
Every single time.
You want to make
Which is why it's so easy for us to hold us. They saved the util to the last 30 seconds.
Speaking of which, though, Mizu for the swing. Jazzy's there for the follow-up. Great to see now. You've lost your high tide. Great for the end rounds, chopping the site in half. It's part of the reason why Dodo was able to get that clutch at the very end to bring us into OT.
I like it. At the minute mark to try to just swing out to see if they can catch somebody off guard. Usually a timer to use utility for your initiators, and they're able to catch one. Mizu falls, and that's a big piece of utility for the hit within the site. Thankfully, though, Hana is still available, still alive with 3 smokes in her hands, and that might allow DSG to salvage something within this round.
Possibly. Dodonut's already been discovered, but pre-fire inside of Showers has weighed some HP against them.
30
that
seconds.
tripwire still there. Double blast back from Lazy Lion. Will we see it? Yes, no teleport. Where's Spike going to go? 23 seconds left. It has to go A site.
And Lace even using the cage.
Oh.
Player waiting. Oh, wow. Still isolates the first. Raze with the support. There's only 1 player left. A 4 versus 1 as Hana's finally able to get a pick within Raze. 10 seconds now on the clock. Satchel down. And now Complexity are pinching through. Nice shot at 1 HP now. There's no time left. Now sticking on to the spike. There's no wall bang coming across, and finally it does as Jazikin comes in. And it took extra innings, but Complexity still manages to get Bind in their hands.
Night and day, a completely different team from what we had seen yesterday. They looked great. The synergy that was there, the mechanical play, Jazzy and Lace too. The 2 tips of the spear, the trident for Complexity, it looked so good. And even if it was OT against DSG, DSG's just been an OT kind of team, I guess, so far this tournament.
Yeah, and we're just hearing in the background, I'm pretty sure that's Alice that was screaming the way that she just did. And it was worth it. It was worth it, definitely. They fought hard for this one on this first map. I hear the last at the same time, so it was definitely her. But yeah, it was an intense fight overall, and I love what we saw here from the player reactions, the peace signs coming out from Jazikins. I mean, you've mentioned it before, it had to be Jazikins and Lace really stepping up to the plate for both of the players for the whole team. And you saw those numbers. I mean, like, Lace did an absolute incredible job there with that operator to start things off in the later rounds, but Jazzykins, the openers, with the pistol rounds, with the second rounds, building up the showstopper, creating the space, they were definitely feeling themselves in this first match.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, again, I don't think across the board for any one of these two teams was there an underperformer. They played so well to their strengths. Again, I want to highlight Misu, the great high tides in the late rounds too, help protect Dodonut, bring us to OT. But going back over to Complexity, I love the way Jazzy and Lace were able to bounce off of each other so well.
That's it. So from what I hear here, we're going to go to a break, and when we come back, the continuation of the series for the Cozy Clash powered by Lenovo Legion. It's Complexity up by 1 map.
Sorry, I wasn't mad. I was just getting my sandwich. Today I'm gonna go to a gala for Asian people. I think Simu Liu, Sandra Oh, Steven Yuan, Aquafina, they're all gonna be there. I'm not gonna ask for any pictures though.
Day 2 of the Cozy Clash, powered by Lenovo Legion, and it's not disappointing so far. Teams battling it out with everything they got to try and take that trophy down, become the Cozy Clash champions. We're of course starting with the elimination match, and one that's going to OT with Disguise and Complexity. Complexity just taking that victory in the end. Vans, what a way to start off our day.
Yeah, we wanted that when we started off the show. We wanted players, we wanted teams to step up. We wanted teams to actually learn from their mistakes of yesterday and come up quite well. And looking at how everything has panned out has been so good, because the initial plan from the macro over to the micro on the off positioning, trying to play the off angles from all of these players has been so good.
Absolutely. I mean, I really enjoyed just the dichotomy difference. Again, we highlighted the mechanical versus just the game sense style plays that Complexity loves to bring out versus DSG. And we saw both of that from both teams
what are
here,
you
especially
eating?
the Phantom
It's
plays.
flatbread sandwich with tuna.
DSG had to offer. It was a struggle point at times, but Complexity at the very end, even through OT, they found a way to get through.
I know history is written by the victors here, but I do really want to give props to Complexity going into this first match, considering what we saw yesterday from them seemed a little rusty going into it, and going into today, I had a lot of questions about which Complexity we're going to see, and it was a Complexity that is here to fight. A lot of individual step-ups coming on through.
Yeah, and it was another one of those moments where you're looking at Complexity's loss yesterday against Little Bros. Was just like their opponents really reading them well, especially in this moment. Like, look at Donut on this 3 versus 1 clutch that she got to actually give that momentum back for DSG. Those small mistakes for Complexity kind of like just made them really lose grasp of that series against their opponents of Little Bros yesterday, but I love that they weren't flustered by it today, and they definitely fought like a good fight on this first map.
100%. And that's the Complexity that going on forward. It's going to be a long day today for whoever manages to take down this series, but being able to see quite a few step-ups coming out across the board, fantastic. We talked about Lace at the top of show as someone who needed to step up, and I think that she definitely did, but when we're looking at the biggest step-up, it has to be Jazzy. Looking at day 1 in comparison to what we just saw was so night and day.
Absolutely, night and day difference, like you said, Sierra. And again, it was a lot of targeting yesterday against Jazzykin so early on. A lot of rounds where she tried to peek out defensively, instantly shot down. She tried to make an entry attacking side, instantly shot down. Part of it too was that, you know, there was a Lotus and Split were maps that Complexity have felt pretty comfortable about historically, but again, going up against their enemy teams, not the best situation to be in, but there was a lot more comfortability on, again, one of their best maps being Bind.
Yeah.
And of course, what we're seeing right now, that is the day 1.
Yeah.
Let's look at that in comparison to day 2, what we're seeing out from Jazzykins. The confidence going out there. I felt like this is the Jazzy to be feared. This is the Jazzy that I love seeing out here performing.
Yeah, you definitely needed that, because at the same time, remember, this first map on Bind, both pistols were actually won here by Complexity, which then means you actually have a really good cushion going through, but they still had to be a team that had to fight back to really tie up the game, so you definitely needed something like Jazzykins to really help out in terms of that fragging department to keep that game close and, of course, push Complexity to the line of victory here for the first map. So I love what we saw from their first matchup from both of these teams as, again, the macro, but it really came down to every single one of the roles were really good for all 10 players, because you had to look at clutch moments as well that really kept that game close.
One thing I really liked from yesterday into today is that Complexity is willing to take more risks. They were looking to experiment a little bit more, especially on their defensive side, where yesterday we didn't really see too many adaptations on that macro level. It was pretty much the same defensive setups on both maps. But today, especially Lacey, single-handedly holding down one site for the almost the entire defensive half with an up is far, far different. A much better adaptation than anything we saw yesterday.
Of course, Complexity wasn't the only team with step-ups, though. Looking back at the match, we even got to see Sub and Dodonut with some fantastic clutches that really put Disguised in the best possible position to be winning. Even thinking back to that one round, that was the Dodonut clutch to take Disguised into this overtime position in the first place.
Yeah, and that was like the second one of that.
That was where's the Rainbow Six Siege team? Is Rainbow Six Siege esports a thing?
Like the Lenovo Legion.
Is it popping?
Clutch of the day already as we started off the day. I mean, that was kind of sick. As she was
all I know is there's a very popular streamer called
Jinxie. Saw in that round number 24 when the high tide came down, it came down to her having to drop those last 2 players, and if she didn't, it was already GG there. But to give that second wind for DSG from that clutch, keeping that game close, and also having the guts to pull out a glass operator in the first round of overtime, you definitely know that there's players that are dialed in today within the server for both of these teams.
And that's what makes me excited going on through our series and into our next map. Of course, looking at the series overall into the next map, I feel like this was a must-win position when we're looking at Bind here for Complexity, because Split is one that is definitely where DSG feels comfortable, and Complexity, what we got to see going on yesterday wasn't the most inspiring, but even if they lose this, they can take it to Ascent to try and win out.
Yeah, I mean, again, we're looking at Little Bros versus Complexity. It was, what, 0-10 for quite a while, where Little Bros, again, mostly from the hands of Sonder. You did have that backup support staff from her as well, just barreling on in, delaying that stall, and making the stall from Complexity essentially useless. And Vans, that was what I was most afraid about going into Bind, was Complexity.
Thank you for the sub, Heart Cave,
wasn't the
and
best,
100
but
grand.
it looked like they were so good about keeping DSG back at their choke points.
Yeah, especially when you're talking about the night and day of Jazzikins' performance.
Yep.
It's also night and day of the performance.
Does Rainbow Six Siege give you money to have an esports team?
Right? It was a 13-3, if I'm not mistaken, versus SNG.
Like
and
Ubisoft,
you just saw
I guess?
Unstable pop off here on the sky and doing whatever they could. On the other end, for Complexity, they're
Because
losing
if
2
so,
versus 4s.
I'm
They're getting,
interested.
like dominated in different angles of that map. They're getting read quite well by Little Bros, where you couldn't play those unorthodox positions and try to fight back against your opponents because you're also losing duels. But I think today's a different story. I definitely do think today's a different story.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm excited to see, though, going into a different story for today, how the teams are going to be going for the agent select, because both of these teams, there's a couple similar concepts, but we're looking at very different agents to be filling that out, specifically when you're looking at Complexity, that KJ.
See, we highlighted this yesterday too, that KJ is not really as much in meta anymore ever since Cypher got buffed. It's not a bad choice whatsoever, but Claudia also doesn't play Cypher, like ever. So that does hold Complexity back a little bit more, but on the bright side too, this has been one of the longest tenured teams in Game Changers. Everyone else in Complexity knows how to play around Claudia. They know what to expect with their setups and how to pivot around, that maybe you don't necessarily need a Cypher when it comes to Complexity.
Yeah, and actually, you bring up a good point about being able to play around Claudia, but that's also for the opponents as well.
Yes.
If you're looking at that matchup again versus Little Bro yesterday, the trap setups that you're trying to do with the nanostorms are trying to get information for Claudia to try to anchor these sites were perfectly right, where you couldn't really use the alarm bot nor the nanostorms too much against the aggression of Little Bros. So hopefully there's going to be some adjustments there. If not, this could once again be another masterclass of DSG, and we'll get a map 3.
We'll see if it's DSG to take us into map 3, showing another masterclass over on Split like yesterday, or if Complexity, they have something up their sleeve. Time to hop into game 2 and find out, and for our casters, take it away.
Thank you so much, Sierra. Map number 2, Split once again. Again, a game, hopefully of redemption from Complexity's end. Starting off on the defensive this time. Not too far different from how we had seen it in the beginning against Lil Bros, where, again, 0-10. Wasn't the best setup though, but again, you know, the big argument I think for yesterday for Complexity was that they started to warm up towards the end of that very first half in the series. Lotus wasn't the best showcase either, but at least it was a little bit more competitive in terms of gunfights. And after what we'd seen from Lacey and from Jazzy on Bind, I don't think we're going to see 0-10.
Hopefully not. Hopefully not. And for Complexity, the test is already going to start here on the pistol round. There's DSG already leading a lot of players towards an A-side explosion and using a toxic screen at the same time to wall from Viper as the barriers come down. You're going to have to expect this very soon. So once again, we talked about Claudia, the test with the positioning of the nanostorm. She's the one that's reading it correctly to start things off with the trap plays within the A side as a Trailblazer clears up the Avon side. And looks like Complexity's comfortable of giving that away.
Yeah, there it is. A lot of information. Lacey now in return does have Guiding Light ready. Turret down. Claudia being pressured so heavily, no utility left.
Good take, good take. Now we kill the Killjoy. Kill this Killjoy. Guys, there's a Killjoy on side. There's a Killjoy on side.
DSG to start things off. And look at Claudia just dancing around this Nebula. And it's complexity all across the board to start.
Control, backing away so strong. But now we see A site, a little worse for wear for DSG, at least for the starting round. They do have that weapon differential going into the next. Split and B site, they're looking poke and prod to see what's going on over there. Claudia's
Do we want to win? Do we want to win? Because we don't want to win, we can keep doing what we're doing.
Jazzykins ready, double cross contact in case Jazzy does fall. Waiting there,
Viper
blocked off.
I thought we wanted to win.
It's all about audio, all about the timing again. Complexity's defense was huge on timing through smokes last time on bind. Dark cover falls though. Jazzy forced it back away. Does have nades available.
Yeah, really for DSG, just trying to get the timing off. The Viper utility up on middle. So 4 players moving up in that area. Ray's looking for a timing. A double swing through the smoke, and Ray's is just too quick.
Good trade. Good.
Nails the first
2 for 1
kills,
we'll take.
But Misu gets the trade off through the smoke, which will allow a Spectre to get picked up.
Get the Spectre. Get the Spectre.
For Complexity.
There it is though. The smokes go down,
Nice,
blocking
Misu.
entryway from Heaven B into
Alright, I'm investing all my money into Misu
free
stocks.
access back over. 3 stack on B side though if you're Complexity. Jazzykin still holding Raptor's angle, just far enough away to have the angle advantage. Oh, but the double swing. DSG putting that pressure down Heaven.
Just working the map. There's still time here with the Trailblazer now trying to get the information that players are there for DSG. There's still a potential to pivot back if they want to. So just trying to see if you could actually punish anybody from Complexity. But the discipline is there this time around. Look how passively you're playing now for Complexity. Just playing the contact, just ADSing on these angles. Lace gets a beautiful shot there onto Dodonut, which will then dwindle the chances of this plant to come down for DSG. There's the off angle on the top of the rafters. Jazzykins once again farming these eco kills, which will help out the showstopper later on this game.
And speaking of those eco kills too, Vans, only one body
don't
lost
win.
was raised. Not bad economics for Complexity's end. They can easily reinvest. Important round now for DSG.
For fun, huh?
Rifles in the hands now of them. Bonus buy once more for Complexity. But defensively speaking for Complexity, Jazzykins looked so good with the Spectre into that last round, even if it didn't convert into too many kills. But these close quarter angles is something for DSG still to fear. Could be another explode towards either B side or mid. The spike held now by Dodonut across the other way. That Viper wall defensively needs to be allowed for Complexity, I'm sorry, DSG to cross. But that's a great stall wall too. Jazzy can easily play around that. Made potentially ready here. Boombot, good for info. Guiding light in return. Still holding it down.
I'm gonna start cleaning up my room.
Stall out DSG,
you know?
make them
I'm gonna start doing
what's around
chores
that
now.
corner. Nothing just yet though. Still just waiting for that.
Y'all got me
flying
doing
point
chores.
eventually. The double cross triple. If you're thinking about vents too, for B Heaven. Jazzy's still hidden.
Really, you're trying to get information with Lace, the one that was trying to jump spot, and as she goes away to help out towards B main,
We better be holding that smoke. Hold the smoke.
So that's now isolating defensive
Hold the
players
smoke
within
and
this
keep the
mid
guns.
control. Rays can't have too much to do. They only
Nice.
have Bucky to work with. So the pressure comes
We
back
saw
towards
the
long B. You have to try to push
Buckinator,
towards
right?
the other end, and it gets denied. Pinch
Nice.
as well. So DSG
Keep the
looking
guns.
done here
Keep the guns.
on
We
this
lose one
third
gun,
round
I'm
of
gonna be
split.
pissed.
Full B-side control now. And like you mentioned, not really too much left of it you do when you have a Bucky at 5 HP. Claudia does have the stinger, but not worth saving. Having control could be good to at least remove one body. Tradeability though for DSG is strong. Again, full rifles. You really want to try to at least take 1, 2, maybe even 3 away on exits.
Yeah, hard to do here. Raise it with that 5 HP as we mentioned before. Claudia's just watching their back in case there's going to be a push from DSG towards the spawn, but we talked about the
is
same
not
type of
worth
discipline
it.
that Complexity had on that previous round.
Keep the
DSG's doing
guns,
same
so
thing.
next round's an
Everybody's
even
exiting
fight.
outside towards the B main where that pressure came up from Complexity in the first place.
Yeah, at least they
So
didn't
they're
let
a
the
great
bomb
spot
get
now to
diffused
work the economy,
5v1.
Even if you're looking at what they currently have here in terms of the armor buys and whatnot, there's only Lazy Lion that got damaged within that round. The rest are well and done here to have some good money into Complexity's gun round.
Yeah, if I'm Lazy Lion, I lose my shields. Not too bad, not too big of a deal. I can easily reinvest back into that. A lot of utility used by DSG despite them having that weapon advantage. A long, slow crawl to scale up inside of mid yet again. the stall factor, even when the Viper Wall from Race had come out so late, Jazzy in of herself and the Vents control from Race was just enough to keep DSG at bay. But this is looking like a full B-side push this time around. DSG used this dividing wall so often to allow the split push for not only B main, but Heaven as well, going back in the qualifiers. That's why Complexity are so precarious to hold on to mid, even without the Viper Wall this round.
This is something that was a pain point for Complexity yesterday against Little Bros. Julia holding that wall towards the B side and also winning individual battles on that anchor hold from Complexity. So identifying this wall coming up early, there's already a double support in that area and less defense on middle once again.
Yeah, but that being said, Jazzy and Raze have been enough to at least stall for a little while, making sure the time runs down for DSG's end. Of course, though, on the other side of the map, we have Dodo now potentially looking for that lurk. Keep in mind, too, Cyber Cage goes up. You probably won't be able to hear from a long distance, but Claudia should be close enough. It's not going to stop the lurk just yet. Jazzy, though.
Oh, okay. Unstable.
Unstable's there for the opening pick. Now Race, the pressure's on her.
Instant pick and an instant pivot from DSG as well. Slowly scaling back, peeling away from the B side and grouping up towards A. I mean, the calls are coming out. You see the warning shot towards the middle. Unless the Complexity wants to try to go for a certain play. As the smoke comes down, the walk across, they won't hear the run across from the spawn, but it's this lurk now from Hannah, just by Ramen. The walk down towards the sewers, the timing could be perfect here. It's being watched by Lace. The ding comes across the 140 and then capitalizes on the kill. Low on HP, now activating DSG towards this A site. Claudia has to anchor it up. There's smokes that's needed right now.
Remember, Killjoy is on site. It's on site. It's on site. She's at 23 health. It's on site.
The trade-off happens, and the plant will also happen for DSG.
Very little time. Spike finally goes down.
Donut.
Body's dwindling away for the defense. Any stars to work with? Yes, two.
How about a quick little Pika-Rooney? No, no
before they can use it.
So we do have Lacel available and alive here. One flash available, so just
nice.
Out
one guy went elbow. There's elbow, heads and shoulders, knees and toes.
A beautiful post plant hold in the end for the attack sign, as everybody from Complexity got denied coming out of that smoke. Nobody affected by that flash.
Great patience again. I'm expecting adaptations into this next round. Jazzy's been holding top B Heaven every single round, and we saw Unstable was just sitting there waiting for that jump peak, that strafe from Jazzy. And unfortunately, that was the first to fall. 2-2 now, though. A site looking all the more appetizing, given that the support staff for Complexity mostly hold B site. And inside mid, Claudia has to diverse that utility far and away, especially the alarm bot now top Heaven. A single turret, a ghost to work with. Oh no. It could very well be Claudia versus the world. Look at the scale out now from Jazzy. The Viper Wall in tow. May very well be able to use Hannah's wall to her advantage. Hidden away. Just waiting for that scale out that may never come.
God, no. Complexity's on eco. That's our biggest
get
weakness.
That punish onto Hannah. Knowing that that wall is there, there's a potential late lurk coming through, but all of DSG is grouped up towards that. So with a minute left on the clock, the lower buy that you have for Complexity, they're trying to get a play behind the screen, but it's being read by DSG.
Nice.
Because of the weapons that they have.
Absolutely. Now look at this tuck tail and run again. You have nothing but pistols. Forced to run away. Play it together. Donut on the lurk. Oftentimes, though, we see Sky placed in top of ramp to go for the early dog to make sure this lurk from a Cypher cannot happen. Hasn't approached yet. And of course, certainly not for a pistol round, but something to note for the future. That alarm bot top, though, may just be the contingency plan instead. Smokes down top Heaven. Trailblazer finds almost nothing, but Claudia, nearly the victim of a lineup, is able to scale back and hide.
At least the Bucky's there. Trying to do something here, but DSG is a ring around a Rosie instead. This is all going to get heard by Lace, who does have a Sheriff. I love this skin, and hopefully it'll be high noon here for the Complexity player who lands the first shot but gets denied right away.
Kinda crispy, not gonna lie.
And scale the time now. Misu once more anchoring that B side.
I like the Complexity team. They all seem like great people.
Bucky again. DSG want to run the clock. It's that lurk now. Raze can't really do much in terms of distance against Dodo. Yep. No sir. That's it. Claudia now. Last one left. Again, it's a game of exits for COL.
Got to give a big props here for DSG of just staying calm, knowing that you're playing against an eco here for Complexity. They just defaulted around towards the spawn, just waiting for any type of pushes. That wall that came up on that mid side, again, telegraphed by Complexity, read by DSG, stacked up towards the Ramen, and really denied any type of surprise play that Complexity was trying to do by that minute walk-off towards the front B side. And after that, they just worked the map in their favor. I mean, you saw that ring around the Rosie, beautifully done. Now Claudia was looking at some way to try to get a ninja defuse, but that is not going to be under DSG's clock as they take the lead now on split.
Nobody ninja defuses against DSG except that one time.
Has more room to set themselves up in the early and mid rounds. They're able to have that flexibility. Once more with that scale up we had seen from Jazzy last round. Although it didn't find the greatest in the world, it was enough to at least have that flexibility, that breathable control in B main. Same setup again for DSG, having that preface towards B main. The wall goes up, mid-side control as well. Complexity themselves, not a whole lot of changes. Lacey though, may go for the early guiding light here to find that info inside B main. They do. That smoke may have came up a little too early and block off that info capabilities.
There's actually a big change there with an operator being purchased by Jazzikin,
right,
watching it down towards that male glass cannon at the same time. And she got punished last time when she was trying to jiggle through because DSG were trying to play the contact play where Unstable was able to get that pick. So this is an opportunity to try to counter that right away within this round. But for DSG to start things off, it's towards this B main where
they play pretty far back from what I've seen. I don't think we need to be using so much util to clear close. But then again, I'm backseating and I'm also diamond. So who am I to say? Who am I to backseat Radiant players? Oh, Lazy Lion! How many times have we seen Lazy Lion get mollied and then killed because he's taking the they're taking double damage? We gotta stop that. We gotta stop jumping through. Okay, if we're gonna jump through Viper mollies, we gotta jump over Viper mollies so we don't get vulnerable.
Instead, it's gonna get spotted, but the op's not there. The stun comes out from the dog at least, the satchel away, and now the ADS. Now you know the op is there, and the shot lands. Complexity on a 5 versus 2, still a player down towards the top of the rafter. It's unstable. Manages to dodge the first shot of the operator and is waiting for their teammate to move up and support.
Wait, hang on.
Finally gets the pick off there on.
Hang on.
Somehow also
hang on, Unstable might be cooking.
Somehow he comes back in the fear of DSG.
We took out Kim Chae-won, which is good because I'm a Yoonjin stan.
Nobody needed to focus.
Hang on.
As now on the attack, Unstable and Donut have the crossfire set up. The double
Never mind.
That's a mistake coming through. Donut gets punished, and it's up to Unstable alone.
Guiding light out, info gain. Unstable can still hide away. It's gonna be a battle of wits though. Scaling the rotates, not enough time. A 1v3, even that raise. Good to remove Unstable from the round. And Complexity bring things to an even game once again. I loved what Jazzy had done in the mid round. The guiding of the Trailblazer had come through from B Heaven. Jazzy hears the sounds of it, hides Raptors, knows that she'll be discovered, doesn't want to reveal the ops position just yet. Brings out the classic, shoots the dog, scales away towards Pillar, and then thinking it's safe. Miso wouldn't recognize that it should be an op just yet. They only had recognized it was just a pistol. So Miso scales past Raptors, assuming it's safe, only to get op shotted down. But even then, though, 3 and 3, a good save. Jazzy proclaims the op. Showstopper in play as well. Probably not to be
Come
seen
on,
until the later
man.
rounds. Race does have
Come on.
an bit, though. And this scale out towards A site. The position now should be good to remove at least A early on against DSG.
Alright, good. This is good. This is good.
I like the position to
Two
start
utils out for free. This game is about utility economy. Get a util out and make sure you're doing something with your util.
Opportunity to get a pick off there through the cyber cages. That said, with the
if you're not getting value, if you're not getting space with your util, why are you even using
down the
util?
possibility of working the A side of the map.
That's huge. Donut loves the lurk A, at least end round. Not gonna be possible anymore. Enables that split push back over.
Alright, this is good. Dog clears. We see 2 heaven. We see 2 heaven.
Oh, there it is though. Jazzy still waiting. Top of mid has Claudia's util to back her up just in case she gets overrun. The walls though activate. Claudia on the other side. No util to activate though.
Just waiting off the turret.
Nice, Hannah.
2 instant picks coming out from DSG. So with the
nice
smoke
as well. Perfect omen, Smokey.
Ready for that one as well. Seekers coming out.
Somebody help Donut.
The spikes going down towards his
nice.
Not too much information.
Watch out, there's a rocket launch.
Showstopper. At least we'll get 2. An opportunity to bring this back for Complexity, but Jaskin has his op, is trying to find at least a weapon to work with, a Vandal, a Phantom, anything.
Swing off unstable contact. Double Picaroni, swinger Pargaroni, double swing double peak, same peak crossfire, double Picaroni. Where's the double peak?
until Donut comes across on the other end by that
Nice
same
Donut.
staircase. There's that flank coming through from DSG as they take the lead.
Super late for Donut there, and of course it paid off in dividends. I love the crossfire that we'd seen in B main post round. The Viper wall set up perfectly to make sure minimum information that Complexity or really any defensive team can retake back. Luckily though, it was nearly brought back by COL. They removed one part of that crossfire, but it wasn't enough. Defensive wall back returning in the mid once more. No more Vipers pit the work off of outside of A. Default setup yet again. No op to be seen this time around though. It's gonna be nothing but Sheriffs in a single classic. This will be huge though. Potentially for the death ball, not quite seen. A little too slow, but we do get to see that scale out with a 4-stack outside of A. I'm sorry, mid. I misspoke. This could be the attempted death ball off the wall dropping.
This is a old school phase VCT style there, trying to scale down with the lower buy that you have.
Hey.
Surprises Donut towards the sewers, but no contact, no pot shots. It's actually Jazikin that walks away from that wounded from that duel.
All the while though, that wall comes up from B side in DSG's favor. No response off of it though. What DSG doesn't realize is that there's no defenders on B side outside of Jazzy holding heaven. The rotate from COL, only finding a minimum contact inside of mid, rotates back over to A site, and they find nothing too. Back over to B main, the lack of information, the Trailblazer out, Showstopper on top, that's B.
The good thing though is at least it was all of a gamble for Complexity no matter what, but while they gambled that the stack was potentially towards this A side and it didn't find it, Claudia was still able to move through and pick up an orb. So that will give them potentially an ult for the later rounds, and then also now a possibility to go for exits and make the economy a little bit more expensive for DSG as 3 players are now towards the back of the spawn sign. And now it's getting smoked out, so you're gonna try to flood back from heaven.
Good one-way setup too here. Misu operating off of it so well. Like you mentioned though, you have nothing but
someone needs to hold Misu's cat. Someone needs to hold Misu. Misu, you gotta hold. Oh my god, who's holding Misu's cat?
And then the third one is raised.
This a cat!
Jazikin's on the flank.
What the fuck?
It's a 1v1.
That's huge.
But it's up to Donut. Once again, still nothing but a Sheriff. Now a weapon picked up, Vandal in hand. The camera comes up, and that is gonna seal the deal.
Thank you, Donut. Yo, DSG. That was, we lost 4. We lost 4 in eco.
Again, given it was nothing but pistols into that last round. Good for Complexity to remove a lot of the guns away from DSG.
Okay,
however,
Misu,
you're be helpful for the next investment.
Like I feel like they weren't communicating who's holding what, you know.
Just yet, but if this round doesn't go
who's
in their
holding
favor,
what?
it very well could. Complexity goes to the timeout here. I like this
like
call.
Misu was trying to hold cat and spawn.
With some variations, like
she was flicking back and forth.
Jazzykins does return with the operator that we had seen before that timeout. I hope it
Where's
exists.
the comms? Like, don't worry, Misu, I got your cat. Or don't worry, Misu, I got your
the
spawn.
question is, though, with B-side being so easy to take at the end of the timer for DSG, you have to wonder, okay, where could the adjustments be? Will we see more aggression outside of B main?
Yeah, right now it's off the timeout to see what they could do as well with this lockdown, trying to understand a little bit more. I mean, it's off the back of this player right here. Beautiful hold to start things off and to keep things really busy within the site for Claudia. So, as we mentioned before, she picked up an orb. She died within the last round, has a lockdown to work with this time around. So now you're trying to figure out, do we want to try to use a lockdown aggressively to maybe funnel players back towards Jazzykins with the operator? And she could actually get some picks off there? Or how would you want to play
Diamond, so I know what I'm talking
if you're
about.
Give up a site with an operator. So it's a very important call here for Joe. And also a very important swing round because that is a heavy investment to bring on an operator again here for Complexity.
Absolutely, but the lockdown's still a risky investment to bring out here. Dodo has been relatively undetected on these late round lurks. Easily could farm for that lockdown, remove it away. And there it is. We could see that beta wall potentially one more time. A 5-stack towards A side. I like this call. Claudia, as you mentioned, does have that lockdown. As soon as any information's gained, could very well back away and wait for the post plant, or even just earlier on, like you mentioned, aggressive lockdown.
Yeah, she's just going to hold it back, wait for the rotate to happen. But I like this position, at least from Claudia. You start things off, you now have control of a heaven.
Yeah, fart.
With the utility
nice.
Here for Complexity,
Viper.
you can really flood back within the site. Already the
That's a sick Viper. I didn't know it expanded that far out.
And look at where can you really run? Nowhere except towards the back of the site where they actually have a star right there. So
nice trade, Dodo Nut.
But the wall's a little bit too late, so you're able to get a couple of kills there.
Oh god, Lady Lion got bombed in the corner. What?
Hannah's going
What do you mean detain? We got detained? What are we doing? Also, we ain't seeing half of these kills.
Beautiful. I mean, the thing. So the Viper's pit from DSG was the icing on the cake. You see that come down directly on an A side. Claudia's like, yeah, I have to go for it.
Maybe that's a good
Great
thing.
Lockdown, great response.
That did not look
DSG,
good for us.
Trying to go for that late round lurk through mid from Misu. Didn't quite pay off though. But again, these response factors, these micro plays coming out have been good, but they just haven't fully succeeded. That being said though, 4 and 5 now. No more lockdown to work off of. Plenty of ults for DSG. I'm looking at that neural theft potentially at the end. Misu does have a lot of relocation potential off of that from the shadows. And a lot of information from Unstable Seekers. A-site once again though from DSG. No Claudia this time. Complexity expected for DSG to go back to safety, but that's not the case. Instead though, it's more reliant on the Viper walls that's not even existent on A-site. And just the stall potential of maybe just using these guiding lights.
Not out of the fire pit yet though for Complexity here. You look at Raze, no money left into this round. You also have a much lower credit here for Lace, so another important round for them to get here for Complexity to really get that cushion on their half, especially after this round. Still have to have.
Why don't we just kill them?
At least it starts off well. Lace got a nice pick.
Look, I know I'm just a lowly diamond player, but we should just kill them, right?
Absolutely, entry capabilities gonna be much more worse for wear for DSG now. Scale back over to mid. Spike going to exist there. Guiding light out could be a fake alarm bot. If Dodonut can discover this, that could lead an easy entryway back over from mid side to A. But maybe not the case. Early Nanoswarm goes down. Claudia holding top heaven this time. It's Jazzy to relocate themselves back over to A site. They're fighting for info about where DSG wants to go.
Everything's just being pinned so far. Positioning is still in favor.
Oh my God! Run past the nade! Run past the nade!
That's a nice shot by Jazzy.
Please!
For that pick.
Good!
Answers right back. Now Raze has to hold within the back of the site, but does have
support from God, there's two outside! There's two outside! There's two outside!
The swing across the other one, a 3 into the round.
What are we doing? Why do we always run outside with 5 seconds and not kill the 2 people? We just get owned by these smokes. How many times?
Plays against Complexity.
Like it keeps happening. Last second round, site get cleared by like 1 or 2 people on the site playing in the house.
There's already that contingency plan from Complexity in case they wanted to do so. Claudia set up Chert, Nanoswarm top heaven. Jazzy's willing to float with the operator defensively in play. And now it's nothing but pistols and a Guardian Vandal to work off of. It's not the best situation in the world for DSG.
What doing?
Have to go back to basics with the default once again.
Yeah, that's the second time that the J1 smokes towards the A side has been a nuisance for DSG on the execution on the A side. So the anchor plays from Complexity definitely a lot cleaner than what we've seen from yesterday. We definitely don't have an 0-10 start.
That's true.
They have a tied up 5-5 game. Jazzikin's off angle on the top, and she is not missing today. Right in the chest of Hannah.
I mean, that's not even Hannah's fault. It was an off angle.
Wall no longer available on B side. Spike still not picked up. It's an emergency situation. The hero Vandal still
not even a loss. Oh yeah, Dodonut is like that. No DSG curse because she's not on DSG.
And again, now
maybe the best DSG team is one that's not signed to
DSG. Back. Spike does go down, more money in their pockets. But the Seekers underway will reveal at least one.
Nice. Dodo nut. She is Dodo nuts.
Now the cage comes up, Raze hides
behind. Oh wait, she exits at the perfect time even though she was being held.
DSG. They have a lower buy-in off Donut's single pick and neural theft. You're already wasting out 2 ults out for Complexity. As Lazy Alliance playing the off angle on the top of the A ramp, a flash to get some information. Meanwhile, Jazzikin gets the pick close range with the operator against Misu. And there you go, everything's starting to fail there for DSG. The calm has...
I wasn't even planning for heaven.
Manages to salvage the last 3 picks, and they take the lead in the half.
I'd be so worried if I'm Claudia against Dodonut on A side. No matter what utility we see set up, round after round, Dodonut somehow finds a way to scale in. And this time, finally getting that frag against Claudia was scary. But again, Complexity have been good, but these late round pivots, good to retake and flood back onto site. Disguise now in the final round of this half, wants to go for a timeout here. Curious to see though, especially with someone like Hannah falling so early on, that Viper Wall no longer available. It's tough to consider. You need to make sure you keep your entry.
Did you see Potter's tweet at you? I saw it. It wasn't at us. To show them compete for 20K first prize, or a team, full team comes, but their fifth is ring for a different team. I don't know why people are saying the second part's about DSG. Our fifth is Katarina FPS, and she's not. ringing for a different team. Pretty sure she's talking about someone else.
On the side of DSG, so far away of getting their own, so it's really trying to figure out how you want to work the map here, how you want to default around, and maybe try to punish or get more out of that first pick that you're able to get off against Claudia if you're going to mention that duel once again.
Yeah, so I don't understand the comments that saying it's about DSG because we don't.
A good play to look at here for DSG.
We don't have a
as they're
full
coming out from a timeout. And sorry, it's not a neural theft, it's a Viper's Pit available for Raze. And it might be the similar thing, just try to get that pit out early towards the A main.
It's gotta be. Raze bringing out that Viper's Pit, shutting down Dodonut's lurk. At least secures a good part of A site, and then you have to fight vents. And that's where the alarm bot nanoswarm setup is for. Oh, but a little late. Look at this. Lazy Lion's already top heaven. Separated out by themselves. The turret underway. Claudia needs to take that fight.
It's still so good. It's a nanoswarm and a molly just to isolate and split off that push. So you only have one player stuck by themselves, and that's Lazy Lion on the top of the A ramp. Already with a turret, a star to hold things out. You're really just split off across the map now for DSG.
Big util usage there. Trailblazer now gone from Lace. In Complexity side. B side though, look at this. Operator set up for Jazzy, looking for that jump peek once more. The Hannah fell victim to last round.
Okay, there you go. When you isolated everybody there, Lazy Lion couldn't get anything against Claudia.
Nice blind.
Flash, but Lisa Paranoia is there to push Jazikin away from her perch with the operator. Chaewon trying to turn the corner around the pillar. Flash is coming behind to try to support. There's also players coming in to support for Complexity.
Nice, unstable. Hey, we need to stop dying. Ideally, to win this game, people don't die anymore. Nice, donut. You both went bullets. Nice, me.
Game 6-6 now on the second map.
Util setup was fantastic in that B-side execute. I love the paranoia coming out from Misu. Great calls off the baited smokes. We had seen the Viper wall finally come up. A whole plan for DSG was just to bait out Jazzy and remove that off from contention. Huge into the late round. And there we go. Lace versus Dodona here. Very similar stats. Oh, wow, she's so similar, just by a factor of 1. I never thought I'd say it, but like between a Sky and a Cypher, the biggest, just pure number differential is the amount of assists that Lacey has over Dodona, which makes sense if you're a Sky.
Yeah, and I also love the fact that we're actually doing a head-to-head for these two players, because there were pivotal players in terms of both playing Cyphers on that previous map and adding actually some impeccable plays.
And clutches.
Exactly.
Biggest clutch factors
for both of these teams.
Back to pistols once again, though, an even game. DSG and Complexity have fought tooth and nail, not only in the last game, but here as well. Very much different from how Complexity played against Little Bros, though. Early Trailblazer underway, same Viper wall set up. A little bit deeper in, though. That's going to be harder for the post plan for Complexity if they want to choose the plan spike default.
Yeah, it looks like Dodona was trying to set up for some sort
What's
of
with us and just giving up sites for free?
Trying to get the spray behind a toxic screen, but that, as you're trying to scale across the map and you're looking...
What are we doing? Why do we have 5 mid? What is this?
They have a plant now for Complexity with a 5 versus 5.
Hang on, let him cook.
Raze with the first contact. That's 2 players right there. Nice deniability, nice slowdown with the Viper's Pit. Oh, sorry, the snake bite down on towards the ground. Paranoia trying to allow DSG to push right back towards the main. Here comes the rest of DSG towards his top of the site. And there's that first blood for Lazy.
Yeah, okay. Okay, Lazy Lion. Okay, never mind. Who cooked up this plan? You're a genius.
Complexity fall. And finally, the first pistol round, an important one for DSG throughout this series for the Lenovo Legion Flawless.
I apologize, I wasn't familiar with
the game. Early in the round, Complexity, they set up the Viper wall for the post plant, but they wanted to go and blind fire on the opposite side. That makes the crossfire potential that DSG themselves had in the multiple post plans on B site when they had their own attacking half much more useful. Not going to be the same for Complexity. I hope they change that up into future rounds. But again, one thing I want to highlight is that Complexity, they don't have a Cypher. We've seen that very fast 4-stack scale out inside a mid early round from DSG because they don't have to worry about that tripwire. They only have to worry about Claudia's utility. Much harder to time, a little bit more nebulous in terms of what information you gain as well. Hannah pressured early on with the jump peek. Poison orb immediately, snake bite in return, may find some chip damage, but maybe not so. No one pushes up that far.
Yeah, definitely some pros and cons on using this Killjoy instead of a Cypher, but the responsibility of the lurk towards the A main is going to be Raze instead.
Nice, Hannah.
Trying to open up towards the top of the vent. Very similar things that DSG's been trying to do. A surprise attack towards the vent on their eco. It gets denied right away, again, by a Viper player, this time being Hannah on the top of the vents.
And keep in mind too, Donut the solo hold on A side. Oh, the battle's
nice, unstable.
Good for at least one. Help enable, maybe B main pushes, but Misu, good smoke. Hides inside, still has Paranoia available for the Spectre. What do you do here if you're Misu? It's a battle of timing. Same for mid.
Oh, nice little shot there through the poison orb. So Ray is off the contact, orb comes up, gets the pick. Nothing more you can really do there. So
Good. No one lost any money.
With the pistols that you have
This
for
is
complexity
good.
to no avail. This
Legacy.
is the second one. 2 flawlesses in a row for DSG. That money's flowing now into their bonus.
And for Complexity, it's going to be hard to push mid round after round. There's a lot of counterplay, a lot of setup capabilities that DSG, they can switch things up. They can just change up whatever they want. There was the Poison Orb last round, could easily be a Dark Cover into the next. Even a Viper's Ball through mid is a big change up too that would force out that respect for Complexity to be stalled out. Viper's Wall though, this time, deep into A main. In fact, it's 2. Good geometric angle here for Dodo not to try to spray fire through, but not much.
Nice.
Tried to get the
Very
flash, but
nice.
there's actually 2 players right there to answer right back on the top of the ramp. So the element of surprise once again gets denied as Jaskin was the one that's trying to satchel across. That gives a potential upgrade available, but already DSG, they're not looking for the weapon. They're already pivoting back towards the B main. And that's exactly where those players are scaling in for Complexity. There's that
Good blind, good blind. Never mind. Please, what's that? What's looking left? What's looking right? Swinging without.
DSG, but you have some players stepping up to the plate on the other end for Complexity.
Huge shutdown. Look at the weapon
God,
differential.
come on, man. We cannot let Shay1 from Lee Seraphim do us like that.
Grabbing Showstopper.
Give it to her.
Shay1 at 4 could very well ace 7 HP. The Showstopper can disable, remove the ace.
This could be important right here. Lazy Lion could get a great timing, especially with these 2 players just stacked up on the pillar. Lace is the one trying to play the contact. There's still an opportunity here to use a Showstopper. You could definitely see Lazy Lion go for it because this is the bonus round for
Don't
DSG.
use the
It can get
Showstopper.
expensive against your opponents. It's that first
Don't
skill,
use
but
the
thankfully,
Showstopper.
It's a death ball. An instant trade out from Lace and room to breathe there. No need to be afraid, Alice.
I was scared for a second because Lazy Lion had the perfect opportunity to go for Showstopper, double blast pack from heaven, and because of how grouped up Complexity were, that would have been at least 2 kills to bring things to a 1v1, if not 3. And there it is. 7-8 now again. We return to a very, very close game. A lot more baited plays from Complexity yet again. We saw this a lot yesterday. Trying to put all that pressure, dump util from one site, pivot to another for the formal execute. 3-stack outside B yet again though. Stars now for the Astra. Trying to remove away that aggressive position top heaven. That's Lazy Lion. Still the Showstopper in hand. Just a matter now of waiting to see what the next response can be. The smokes come underway, but still no push up from COL. Trailblazer's gonna confirm that. Crossfire inside of sewers to see if anyone wants to push up past the Nebula. That's not the case. No lurks yet from Complexity. As they may try though. Raze has that wall set up. Top heaven though. It's unstable, ready and waiting. Guiding light not available anymore.
Yeah, the push-up was from DSG instead, trying to get a
Nice,
Showstopper
unstable.
off the
Very
Trailblazer
nice,
on middle
very
instead
nice.
now. The pivot from Complexity towards the A site. This is still looking pretty good for DSG. If you don't have to use a Showstopper now, you could use it on the retake. So giving up the A site, you see how passively it's being played by DSG. They're okay to give up the site here for Complexity. Now, for Complexity though, looking to work up towards the A heaven. There is that drop inside. Now
Oh my God, why can't we play around the smoke? Nice Dodo Nut. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, Dodo Nut is like that, huh? Dodo, okay, never mind.
Range battle against Raze and finally gets dropped, and that's spiked down as well. Advantage for the defenders on the retake.
And look at this though, all through the chaos, it's Lazy
We
Lion
know
on
they're
site,
both
completely unknown,
on
no
site.
information at all.
Whatever
Kills
you do,
underway, very
don't
little
get
utility
picked
left
off
for these
one by
attackers.
one
In
without
fact, they have
being
no
able to
utility at
trade.
all.
Paranoia gets no reach from Misu though. So the most important thing is this right here, the Showstopper coming out, but it's gonna land right at the feet of Raze, up to Lazy Lion. Should I say Lace, sorry, to try to clutch the 2 versus 1.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. That was still pretty scary though, because if Misu got picked there, Hannah was not in position to
And
trade.
DSG now take the lead by 2.
Great patience there.
like that.
I love that Showstopper at the very end. Good, the divide and conquer. Really a big decision to be seen. Like, okay, do I want to go for back elbow and enable at least a little bit more of a push out post plan to help my teammates, or do I want to go for the immediate option? I'm glad to help out the teammates was the option instead for the Showstopper. The Complexity, the gears have to start turning. A-site has worked out for the spike plant, but again, their weaponry not so great. Old cycling is looking good. Lacey is close to getting those Seekers yet again, but probably not for a round like this. It's more so just finding kills, farming those orbs this round. 3-stack for DSG as well. We've seen these early blast packs into heaven. Lazy Lion had done the same when they were on their own attack. This Viper wall, though, could be a good stall factor, especially Cosmic Divide on top. That's huge for the fast entry.
Yeah, just trying to flood in here. Pain shells just to keep the players at bay. That's doing a nice even molly from the Viper towards the spawn. So this is going to be a free plant now for Complexity. So I like it. Using the Cosmic Divide to your favor. The plant comes down. Lace is going to be one away from Seekers. And now they're pushing towards the screen. For the defenders, DSG is trying to push back from the A ramp area. So it's going to be a ring around the rosy for this retake. 3 players of DSG moving down. Wall about to dissipate and has done as well. J1 getting that first and a second pick.
Don't let Kim chip. It's an eco. It's an eco.
For their Thrifty, a huge flash. Bisu is able to dodge it and does has support as well from Hannah on the top. Now individual plays, a double swing coming out from Complexity, a 2v1 in that area as the Viper is trying to move in for the defuse, denied by Claudia.
What are we doing, man? I don't get it. I don't get why we get ecoed so often. Like, I think more than any other team in the history of Valorant.
I love the response right after. Cosmic Divide, fast entry in. DSG expectations to go over the B site, but no, not the case. Instead, full site control for Complexity.
Like, someone needs to do a statistical analysis on just how often DSG loses man advantage and ecos.
Single player held on A site. Now it's Dodonut. Keep in mind too, weaponry not so great. But the flood retakes that DSG love to do.
Like, it's not just the GC team. Our men's team also had the same issue.
To use here. Maximum information. The longer they can stay alive, maybe not so much.
The stars are already coming out. This is going to be a repeat of that previous round, knowing that they had to play against an eco. And for DSG, they're trying to gamble stack players towards this B side with the pistols. And things are looking pretty good. Plant out in the open. This is farming it for... It looked like it was going to be for Claudia in the first place, but they're going to give it to Lace instead so she can have the Seekers as a last resort, if not use it for the next round. And look at DSG. They don't want to give any of those orbs away for Complexity. Everybody's just holding towards the spawn, not even moving towards the screen, and they just want to die from the blast radius, because if not, you'll have potentially a showstopper available and a pit available as well.
Yeah, just the disengagement here. Good time for the team to talk to each other, too. Be like, okay, how do we bring this back now that it's an even game? These stars, the Nebulas, as you said, have worked so well to disable and remove away these pivotal positions, especially Heaven. It's not been able to be held at all by DSG, especially Dodo not going for the very frontwards facing aggressive attack in the beginning of that round. On the bright side, though, Neural Theft is available in case that is a fast push from Complexity into the next round. But if I'm Complexity, it's like, okay, I don't know if I can go for this 2 times in a row. Good
Wait.
damage, though, I suppose.
I love it. That's actually very smart. I was actually trying to figure out how do you not die to the spike and then try to get things.
I thought they'd run in.
Doing fall damage, making sure no orbs given on the other end, and if you're going to save
Genius.
those weapons or save those pistols, you're only getting 1,000 credits in the next round. So I love what they just did right there, just to make sure that they minimize the impact that you have, but nonetheless, they still lost a player, and that player that they lost allowed Jazzikins to get the showstopper this time around.
Important to note, though, look at Complexity's utility buys. They don't have guide, they don't have Trailblazer, they don't really have a lot. I mean, the turret's brought out, but a pivotal piece of information utility not available now for this B-side take.
We'll have it for sure. They're
all about
money.
Silence.
So Lace will have that utility no matter what here from Lace. So Seekers to come out at the same time, the execution towards the B-side, showstopper at the same time. It's gonna be an
This is
open
smart.
site.
We're playing offside. That's good. That's good.
Following the Seekers at the same time. There's that paranoia to try to
Nice.
answer that,
That's
but
2
space has
ults.
been
Alright, no one
Seekers
died.
also
They
getting
have
information
control, but
from
hey,
Seekers
that's 2 ults they had to
instantly
use.
towards that mid-side.
3 ults.
Exactly,
3
goes back towards
ults.
the spawn.
That's a nasty pit, too. It takes care of all of alleyway and a little bit of Raptor's control, too. Lazy Lion have to drop down completely blind. There is Neural Theft from Dodo Nut, though.
This is not a good ult. This is not a good ult.
Not available just yet.
First contact is going to come through here from
How
Lazy
did
Lion,
Unstable
but
die
Lace
with the
meanwhile
Lazy
has
Lion
brought their
first
team in,
pick?
and the
Come,
second one being
someone!
Lazy Lion themselves. Lace is just
Thank you.
continuing on this second half to do whatever she can, and she's definitely stepping up, continuing to step up from yesterday. And as the other numbers are just all dwindling down, I mean, look at all these X's. It's been a crossfire setup no matter what from the beginning to the end. And the last player will have to save her weapon. It's going to be Dodo Nut. And Complexity will take the lead 10-9.
Huge.
What's going on, team? Come on. Guys, what's happening?
Pretty similar
Talk
to
to
what we
me.
had
Talk
seen
to me.
yesterday, too. At Complexity, they were faltering against those fast executes. But now, again, like you said, the double smoke control that we're seeing, fast executes, maximum information, forcing DSG to play against their own will. Against their own
Just
pivots.
one by one
But
by one
now
by
it's
one by
again
one
another
by one.
timeout, 10-9. And we haven't seen a lot of aggressive control, at least on these rifle rounds for DSG. A lot of it's just been based off of light buys, thrifties. Dodo Nut 17 and 10. First to fall, at least that last thrifty round that we had seen. played much more slower this time around. A lot of tension now between these two teams. This could easily go to a third map, or we could easily see elimination for one of these teams. These rounds now are so important.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be the role now of Coach Poach calling out the timeout, the last one for DSG. Most recent pickup in terms of the coaching staff for DSG, taking the helm for this one as well. As they mentioned before, I mean, Complexity seems to have good control now of their attacking half.
Yeah, fast executes have been hard to stop for a lot of these teams so far this tournament. Curious to see now, though. Complexity have been opting not to really put a lot of pressure in mid, instead just pure 5 stacks. And DSG, they love to go for their own 4 or 3 stacks if they can, but more often than not, they haven't been able to find the proper read. Wall comes down on A site. The only real defensive utility to be brought now is going to be Unstable's util, the Seekers potentially, if it want to be used on a broken buy like this. And the Viper wall and Snake Bites. Orb, though, not to be gained just yet. Ult cycling, though, for Complexity means that pretty soon Claudia could potentially find that lockdown.
I like it. They're waiting for the Molly to finish and do the same type of execution now towards the A side with variation. Molly on top of the A heaven window as well, so nobody could swing out on a defensive side. But nonetheless, you do have a player holding within the smoke, and that's Hannah with the Sheriff, instantly denied there by Raze. So an attempt to do anything with a surprise with the Lorelei that you have. A hero rifle for Donut as she saved it on that previous round. The plant will go down for Complexity once again out in the open.
Battle of safety now. Jazzy good to remove Misu. That's one smoke. Not have to worry about anymore. And Lazy Lion. Oh, unlucky, really. Good double.
It happens. It happens to the best of us. Trying to shoot players in the back when they're having weird swings coming across. And that's the demise, unfortunately, here for Unstable. 4 versus 1. Lace with the final kill. How many multi-kills so far has Lace been getting? I feel like on the second half, she's building up to like probably her 3rd Seekers of the half.
Yeah, too many. Pretty close to getting those Seekers too. Well, that being said, Claudia does have that lockdown potential as well. I mean, if the fast executes are there for Complexity, you can build up again so much more to prevent the anti-flooding from DSG. And again, their pistols, with the retakes have been a little so-so. I mean, we saw that from Lazy Lion, but there are a lot of ultimates to help supplement that, along with rifles. I'm looking at Unstable Seekers to find that push so early on. Could be good for the stall.
Seahill's Life, thank you for the sub. Columbus, Bad Client, Green Apples, Catfias, thank you for the sub.
Complexity just waits it out. They do find information this time from DSG's end. They force Complexity to play a little bit more slow as that.
Can we use our util to like hold them? Like Viper Mollies and shit?
Down below on A main, Guiding Light in return, still fast execute, not going to stop them.
It's definitely nice here that you have the Sky information from Unstable to get that and prevent the Complexity flood once again. A fake TP coming out. Actually, it was going to be a full commitment if Complexity was going to continue to work within the site. But instead, hearing that it's quiet, thinking
when you use the ult there,
now forcing Seekers out very
don't they just shoot the Seekers and then it's, that's the ult?
Even a dog coming through, that means there's less player within the A site. And there's a potential here for the orb. Actually did get picked up.
I don't know, man. I just
has now an ult available.
Look, I'm a diamond player, but
she's moving now within that same spot.
We're using a lot of this for info.
Down for the lockdown. Complexity's getting ready to move in.
We still have Viper Molly. We don't have Viper Molly.
A-side fast execute didn't quite work out. Tried to push up Heaven, had some control.
Can we smoke that somehow?
Now dialing back, getting out the lockdown to prevent it from being taken down so early on. But now the execute's underway. Already DSG right on the precipice, waiting for that plant to go down.
That's going to be chain one. It's going to put it through. Lace is just trying to delay with that first flash. Raze playing the off angle at the bottom of the A ramp just by the orb. Knows that the Raze is going to be
we're clearing the close right.
Trying to close the gap.
We're clearing the close right, right?
For them to get the showstopper.
We're clearing the close right, right?
Down for the contact. Raze
Thank
loses
you.
that
Holy
fight.
shit.
One more needed for Lazy Lion.
Good blind. Good blind.
Now from Misu that allows now DSG to retake the site slowly. Another flash, but Lazy Lion gets
flash. Okay, one more. One more.
Happens.
Why are we peeking that? We're blinded.
Towards the off angle. Unstable moves in, gets the pick, and DSG's able to come back for the retake and keep the game close.
I love what Unstable did in the early rounds there. Stall, 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 alongside with Hannah. Early snake bite on Orb. Wall comes up, bringing out Guiding Light as soon as the opposite Sky's utility had come out. Just denial, 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 stall, stall, stall. Even when we had seen Complexity pivot away from A mains executes back over to Heaven, they were spooked out, they dialed themselves back, and they went back for the lockdown for the reaggress. Another timeout again, though. 11 to 10, so always such a close timer. But there's not as many ults to work with anymore. That lockdown didn't find as much value as I thought it would.
Yeah, it gave them the sight at least. It was really good. Was going to be what was going to happen for the Pulse plan because it didn't have the opportunity to really push back and take more control, more space because of the smokes that were coming out here from Misu's Omen. That said, though, you have a timeout coming out from the last one for Complexity. And this is going to be the call. I mean, I love the adaptation that you had for DSG to actually have unstable play towards that A main, to start flashing and getting that early information. And getting that early information actually foils the plan of holding W execution after execution that was so successful for Complexity. So now after this timeout, the mind games are now starting. Or you want to try to hit that again now that they don't have that much utility to work with, at least for I guess we're getting pretty close to ults here from the side of DSG, if I mentioned it before. But yeah, it's the mind games to see if you want to try to go for that re-hit or try to work a different type of default.
Yeah, I mean, Lazy Lion here with the showstopper could be huge, especially on a thrifty round like this. Judge in play too. Well, hero rifles, but I'm also looking at Hannah. They can invest into the rifles, so not so much of a thrifty anymore. Donut's been holding on to this Neuro Theft for the longest time, just waiting for that perfect opportunity. But because of how the fights have been engaging, Complexity just a little too far away for Donut to find that impact. Early Viper spit down on A side yet again, denying any potential for a lurk. Already double blast pack in though. Jazzykins so far deep, looking to play anti-rotate. While the rest of Complexity, they're focusing their prospects outside of B. Showstopper in return though against the Trailblazer, misses.
What a nice
Why are we using our outs like this? We're getting zero.
Push on the other end.
We push our smoke.
It gets denied.
Okay, we got to trade at least.
Coming in from Jazzykins that made it towards that vent, as you mentioned here, Keg. So now she gets control of the A sign. There's still Seekers available exactly that goes out for Lace, and it could actually suffocate Hannah within this pit.
Absolutely now. Through the pit. Jazzy still holding on. Toto completely. How could you?
There's that flash. Hannah's just holding back within the pit, doing her job as much as she can. The battle's gonna have to be important towards the A heaven. Once again, you have to try
we got Molly this.
Who's looking towards the vents. Lazy Lion's already moving through.
Why are we letting Jazzykins shit all over us?
Night and day
She's too good.
Complexity at map and series.
She just snuck onto heaven and murdered everyone.
Completely out of the realm of how Complexity had played so early on. The double blast pack, no control in mid because Complexity have barely touched mid this attacking half. So good barrel down for Complexity to have that strat in their back pocket. Jazzy, good for the anti-rotate and removing the pivotal Dodo not too, who's been such a big clutch factor in this series, but not so much on this defense. 3-stack again now. Dodo playing a little bit more aggressively outside of B. Same, well, it's different setup this time around though.
Now, so
we're on the Sheriff on the final round. Nah.
That one. The money is non-existent for DSG this time around. Thankfully, here the showstopper gets denied. That was a key thing for Complexity.
Only Miso and Dodo have Vandals. Please hold it down for my legacy.
Keep their run within the Cozy Clash alive for DSG. But Complexity, all of this with the showstopper was a fake the whole time.
Keep in mind, DSG 2 came into this tournament as the top seed. They can't go down like this, but there's one round left. Jazzy found so much impact early on, and Unstable's on the chase. Oh, no way, the timing.
Almost
timing.
There, but
timing.
There's that repivot all the way
nice.
Towards the spawn to A main. The nice little pick, not giving a chance here for Unstable
free gun.
To pick up the weapon, but at least
free gun. Get the gun. Get the gun. Get the fucking gun. Get the fucking gun.
Opportunity for the Neural Theft now. Look at the call. The rotates back over towards A site. Everyone in Complexity discovered.
Second ping out.
Okay.
Was just
all right.
Able to swing out.
Somebody check her PC.
But the crossfire is still there because of the Neural Theft. The instant rotate came across for DSG. 3 players alive on both ends. As
we are not going out like this. We will not go out like this.
They actually have to turtle in within the A site. The wall.
They're all stuck on site. They're all stuck on site. So what are we going to do? We got blinds. We got smokes. We got utils for dizzly days.
All coalesce towards the back of site.
Last star was already been used. It gives an opportunity now for DSG to move in. A flash now, only Lace solo. Makes it a 1 versus 1 against Misu. That clock is still ticking down. She hears the drop. Now plays the time to her favor. Jiggling across towards the elbow. Misu's making her way in front of that map. And the smoke comes up. The spray comes in first. And now it's going to be too little too late.
Never.
Lace will run in and get the last pick and allow Complexity to eliminate DSG and move forward in the Cozy Clash presented by Lenovo Legion.
I mean, as we said before, the top seed, the first
well
of
played.
all, Complexity saves the day.
13-11, 13-10, and then we lost 15-13, 15-13.
Was impeccable.
We're just so, we're always so close, you know, we're always so close. We just can't.
This is
Yeah, you know,
home
guys.
ground for complexity, so they are.
They did make it to land finals. How much did they get? Like $5,000? NT team NT. Cheesy Bros, Matty Raps, thanks for the sub. It's a casual for fun tournament. We didn't even want to win that anyway. 3.5k. Hey, that's $700 per person. That's worth something. Alright, chat. Thanks for watching. I'm gonna go prepare a very long rope. Because I'm building something for a project. But thank you all very much for watching and supporting the Valorant Game Changers team this year. I'm off to attend a gala, so I'm gonna take off. But thank you guys for watching at least. Hey, they made it pretty far. Top 4 in a big tournament like this. Made it to land. I'm still very proud of all of them. Alright, I'm off for now. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later. Let's raid somebody. Who am I raiding? Who to raid? Who to raid? Let's raid. Let's raid Masayoshi. Because he's been, he's doing some World of Warcrafting. Alright.